Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today to talk about a bunch of stuff. This right here that you see on your screen, something that I just kind of threw together, really. I mean, this really ain't nothing hard to make, but Clark Hayden has been all about me wanting to do this live here and show the F1 crap. I mean, we need to get him in here before we talk about this, but this is their little Q3 segment here. They're basically just a bunch of rich people racing one another. But this is like they have 3 stages of qualifying, I guess. This is how they figure out who has the best car, not necessarily who the best driver is. I mean, obviously in this sport, it is all car. But sorry, I gotta mute this thing. This guy's just talking continuously. But this is our little idea of potentially doing some watch-alongs, because there are some other people who do this and watch this F1 crap, but it's really, really bad. They have no wherewithal of racing. Period. Obviously, we're professed in racing at least. Some of these people, they like shut the chat down. We're definitely not going to be doing that at all. But let's see if we can get old Clark off in here. To explain what in the hell is going on. What are you doing, Chaz? Why are you showing me this crap? This thing. This thing you see on your screen here. Hello.
What's up, the Chaz, man?
Do you see what I threw together in 10 minutes? Does this look okay?
Dude, this looks pretty good.
I mean, it could use some improvements, kind of like Formula One, but
If you did this in 10 minutes, man, it's way better than the way other people do it.
really, and people actually watch the leaderboard and the track map of Formula One.
Well, yeah, because also at the end of the day, people don't subscribe to F1 in all of the different vast regions of the world, right?
Okay,
Sometimes all they have is YouTube.
So what the hell is this Q3? What does that
So
even
this
mean?
so they do 3 rounds of elimination and qualifying. They do Q1, Q2, and Q3. So in Q3 they have the top 10 shootout. They get a fresh set of boots. Some will have 2
Fresh
sets
set of boots.
left
What the hell
over.
do you mean by that? What is a set of boots?
Brand new set of 100 degrees Celsius tires that are nice and warm and ready to go.
Okay, new boots, new tires for the rednecks of the world.
So I'm going to tell you right now, man, I'm completely shocked that Perez is in P13, knocked out of the last Q3. Absolutely embarrassing.
And Perez is that he's like the partner or something like that?
He's teammate to Max Verstappen, who's already clinched the championship.
That's pretty sad. Has Verstappen won everything, every race?
No, he hasn't won every race this year. Ferrari's won a race. He's dominated pretty well.
So they got this 2-minute warning right now. What the hell's going on? Does this mean
everyone's thrown on new boots for the last run in the qualifying year?
Okay.
So everyone's going to get one less flying lap unless someone brings out a red flag, which means then the session's over.
And Verstappen is on top of everybody by over almost a full second. Half a second, yeah, 7/10 or yeah, 6, 7
Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing that can happen in Formula One, Chaz. If Verstappen's on P1 right now and everyone's going to go out on new tires, guess what he can do? He could actually put it in the wall and cause a red flag. And guess what? He doesn't lose as fast time. That's the type of politics that can happen in Formula One.
Has that actually happened?
It's happened several times. There was Crashgate with Alonso and Piquet. Nico Rosberg did it 1 year in Monaco, where he stopped Lewis Hamilton from getting pole position by making it look like, oh, taking escape road, oh, I can't, and then he blocked the road, and then no one could set another fast time after that.
Okay, so who's some of the guys who could challenge this Red Bull car? I don't think there's necessarily good drivers in F1, but there are good cars. So what's a car that could challenge Verstappen?
At this track, I'm gonna say no one, not in qualifying. Maybe if they do the strategy right, which it looks like everyone's on soft tires. See the S? So everyone's on soft tire, right? So if we maybe had tuned into Q2, maybe we would have seen, because in the Q2 round, if you whatever tire you qualify on, that's the race that you start on. Okay. So if you went out on it like a set of mediums or a set of hards in Q2 and you made it through into Q3, then you have to start on that set of tires in Q2.
Alonso just went Q3, to third. I don't think he's any good, but oh, who's this Nor guy?
Ooh, went two. Alonso. Oh, Norris jumps up to
Norris.
P2.
That's how you say this guy's name is Norris.
Lando Norris.
Lando.
Oh, wee. All right, who's Russell's left? What's Russell gonna do on his last flyer? What's he gonna do? P3. Piastri. Can he join his teammate on the second row, third row? Here comes Piastri.
Second.
PIA.
And then Hamilton coming to the line, right?
Oh
no, he's in the pits.
He up? He aborted?
Yeah. Why would they go to the pits? Just a bad lap and they just want to restart, or?
No, they can't. They can't restart. If you know that's the thing. Unlike a sprint car, these guys can see if they're up on their steering wheel.
So if you set a fast time in the Q1 or Q2, does that fast time stay all the way throughout?
No, it resets.
Okay.
That's what's great about this, right? Is also the evolution of the track is also like dirt track racing, right? As the qualifying session progresses, the difference in Formula One is the track always gets faster. Where in dirt car racing, the track could get faster or it could get slower.
Well, I mean, NASCAR tracks do that too. If they build rubber, you get the groove developed.
Correct. In NASCAR, technically, the track gets slower, right?
Right.
So.
All right, I don't know if we should do this for Sunday. I mean, nobody cares.
Well, you didn't give enough notice, man. You gotta put your work in, bro.
I don't know about that. I have put work in on the dirt world. If we start talking about Jeff Gordon, it'll work. By the way, did you see what Jeff Gordon said?
No, what did he say? What do you do?
Oh,
what do you do now?
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about.
What do you do?
He said a bunch of things. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. Did you see the ring that High Limit put out? They're doing a championship ring for their champion.
Let's see it.
It's on the screen.
You got an image?
Oh, wow. That's cool. It rotates, too. Look at that thing go. It says champion on one side, 2023 on the other, dice roll, little checkered flag. And then I don't know if these are these all real diamonds? Or is this has to be sterling silver? Ain't no damn way. This has to be that. This is that lab grown stuff or something.
Hey, you know what? It looks pretty damn good. I'll give them that.
It does.
It's not a $150,000 ring though.
If those are all diamonds, all those flickerings, it could be something.
I think the drivers would rather $150,000 to win the championship than a ring.
On the son bitch. Hell, if Rico wins it, he'll probably do a raffle.
Yeah, why not? Raffle it off to charity, right?
I thought this was funny. Skeetle juice. No, I did want to talk about a few things with Jeff Gordon. Let's talk about what he actually had to say. So he had one thing to say against drivers speaking out, I thought. And extracurricular activities. He had a bunch of different things he had to say. This one was pretty interesting. Let me put some volume to it.
To get people. What I do agree with is that Denny is trying to do things.
You're talking over right now. You can't hear it.
Conversation.
Hold on, let me restart.
Okay.
What I do agree with is that Denny is trying to do things to stir up conversation, to get people at least having an opinion, right? Whether it's a positive or a negative one, you have an opinion. And the fact that he's embracing that, I will give him kudos all day long. Go for it. I wouldn't want that to be one of our drivers.
Why not?
You know, because it's just, it's too controversial. You know, to me, it's a distraction. You know, I feel like I want our drivers to you know, go and build a fan base by winning races and by being themselves and you know, but not doing things. I think Denny's being himself to a certain degree, but I think he's also kind of, you know, it's like an alter ego as well.
Okay, so basically he's saying that he doesn't like, somehow the topic of Denny Hamlin came up, and he is basically saying he doesn't like a vocal driver. He wants a driver, basically like Rihanna said, shut up and drive is what he wants. That's basically what he's saying to me. That's what it looks like.
And why do you think NASCAR is boring? There's no personalities anymore.
Well, I mean, this is true, but
and here's the thing, right? In major league sports, they can be outspoken because they're one member of a team, right?
Right.
They got their guaranteed money no matter what in their contracts because their agents aren't stupid.
Right.
Here in NASCAR, the drivers are the weak link because if they say something wrong, that corporate sponsor can say, we don't like that anymore. And based on the drivers' contracts, because it's heavily based on the owners, the drivers are screwed. They're handcuffed.
You think so?
100% they're handcuffed. The only reason Denny Hamlin's outspoken is because he's got an amazing relationship with FedEx.
Well, and he owns a team. He's financially set.
Exactly.
Whereas Jeff Gordon comes from a day where, you know, like DRS and F1, dick riding some bitches to get that money. You know, dick riding some bitches. That's what DRS stands for, as far as Formula One's concerned. They had to dick ride some millionaire all the way to the point they are. So that's what he's talking about. Same thing.
Exactly. But, you know,
I can't believe you said exactly.
But here's the thing: he's the owner, or he's going to become the owner of Hendrick Motorsports, right?
Isn't he already 50?
Of the sponsors, most of the sponsors with Hendrick Motorsports are all B2B with Hendrick. Like, why wouldn't he want these guys to be a little bit more outspoken and have personalities?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you think back in the day between him and Dale Earnhardt, they manufactured that rivalry. They manufactured it.
Yeah, but they never even spoke. What manufacture? What are you talking about? Like,
they manufactured that, you know, Dale Earnhardt's the bad guy, yada, yada, yada.
They always outspokenly said that they were friends. That they got along.
Now.
No, even back then, there was never... That rivalry was manufactured through Days of Thunder because it was a fake rivalry that became reality.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's why Jeff Gordon cried when Tom Cruise walked out during his retirement ceremony or whatever. He knows what happened. This is Illuminati at work. This is true. I mean, I told Jeff Gordon this to his face at the Hard Rock in Tulsa. right in front of David Gravel and Kevin Thomas Jr. And he went white, ghost-faced it when I brought all this stuff up. He didn't want to address it. He knows.
So you had your own Justin Trudeau moment with the big and powerful and make them look little babies.
I don't know what the reference is there. Did Justin Trudeau do something correct in Canadian politics? Is that what you're saying, or?
No. He got made look like a fool by a guy on the street not wanting to shake his hand. He MF'd him really, really, really good on video.
Well, Jeff Gordon didn't
hilarious.
necessarily get mad at me or anything. He just he didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't believe. Right when I dove into, so I was kind of drunk. We were all kind of drunk, you know. It was one of those 1:30 a.m. deals. And Gravel was kind of edging me on. He's like, tell him, Chaz. Tell him what you think. Tell him what you think's going on. I was like, oh, I'm not trying to have this issue in the casino with Jeff Gordon right now. I was having a good time. Why are you doing this? And then Kevin Thomas Jr. gave me a little smirk, and I was like, okay, we'll just start talking about it, you know. So right as I dove into, you know, the financial situations, who inspired the movie, the religious backgrounds of Jeff Gordon that all of a sudden changed in '94, you know, no religious background at all, just switched it up. And then also the relationships between the people involved in the movie, the paying to promote Jeff Gordon on ESPN2 on Thursday Night Thunder while he's running mid-pack, where I believe executive producers got fired. I think that's what happened. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, happenstance that manufactured the battle between Jeff Gordon and Dell Sr. That Jeff Gordon Dell Sr. situation literally changed the landscape of motorsports. NASCAR took over with the assistance of a movie, and in my opinion, the assistance of Formula One going after kart racing in the 90s. Because kart, in my opinion, was becoming too big. They took Nigel Mansell, the Formula One champion, and kart racing was suddenly slowly becoming a destination for people to become famous in racing above Formula One. And when that happened, in my opinion, the jealousy of Indianapolis correlated with Formula One to go after kart, to destroy kart, because kart was becoming a rival series to Formula One slowly. They were. And they needed a way to stop international fans enjoying American motorsports. And the best way to do that is to make NASCAR the number one form of motorsport in America, because international fans don't, it's just like sprint car and late model fans. We open wheel people like open wheel cars. A 410 sprint car fan may watch a midget race, may watch a high limit or a World of Outlaw race, but they obviously seem to not majoritarily want to watch dirt late models. They're just not a Fendered fan. So when NASCAR became the predominant sport of American motorsports, it protected F1's international investment of fans, because they could have related to a kart vehicle because it looked similar to the Formula One car, but they would not relate to the looks of the cup car, the stock car, because it's a stock car. It's unique. It's an American thing. It's another way to Americanize the sport and keep it segmented and protect their fan bases. That's what I think happened.
What? Go back to Nigel Mansell there. What did you say about Nigel Mansell and kart exactly?
Well, he was the former. So just how I get pissed off and say, why does a World of Outlaw or a sprint car driver want to win a midget championship and then go to NASCAR or a World of Outlaw championship? Why is that second tier? Why are they going up to NASCAR wanting to be something bigger than what we actually are? Nigel Mansell won the F1 championship and went to kart, guys.
Yeah, but why?
Money and fame.
No.
Money and fame. He became extremely famous when he made that shift. America is the entertainment stage of the world. Anything you do over here is bigger than anywhere else you can do it.
He didn't make that switch by choice.
Well, it was a flip-flop with Michael Andretti as well, but
he was forced by Frank Williams to leave.
Didn't look good for them, tell you that much.
No, because then after Senna died, he came back.
Right. Or did he?
No, he did.
Did he, or did he get forced to go back?
Well, the money was there, of course.
Okay.
And also the reason why he came back was because the people that made him leave Williams were no longer there, part of the problem.
I mean,
and you don't think Rothman's big cigarette brand, they're gonna want a champion back in the car?
I mean, I agree. I just think that this rise with NASCAR, this rivalry that you led off with, was manufactured, and I think there was a big conglomerate of manufacturing between multiple industries, multiple petrochemical businesses. Because if you remember, the petrochemical business behind Jeff Gordon was who?
DuPont.
And who was the petrochemical business behind CART?
Behind CART.
PPG.
Oh, right. PPG.
So we're talking about petrochemical wars in a way.
And who to today supports PPG? Penske.
Right. And who now owns it all? And who got into NASCAR when Days of Thunder came out? When did he come back with Rusty Wallace? 1990. When did Days of Thunder come out? Oh, somebody knows.
Somebody in the chat. Someone's got to tell us.
Somebody knows. No, this type of stuff I'm talking about, you ain't going to find out in no newsroom. You're going to find it in some bunker in the middle of Utah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the aliens, Clark. The reptilians that run this world. Jeff Gordon looks like a weird kind of frog lizard person right here. Look at that face.
He's getting old. Gravity is taking.
Why are you trying to deflect? What about the lizard people running the world?
Hey man, it's small group of people that are very, very wealthy. I get it.
You think so?
Well, yeah.
You think so?
Roger Penske's a billionaire. Hendrick's a billionaire. You know, who knows how much money Joe Gibbs is worth, you know.
We actually had somebody come in with the super chat. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. His comment is, I'm surprised. He says, I was surprised Hendrick did an interview and said he wanted to go Indy racing, but Jeff did not. But Kyle wanted to go Indy. Mr. Hendricks and Jeff Gordon made it happen. Love the clip. Love the clip you did with Kyle, BK, and Rico Abreu. Not even Kyle talks about that piece of his racing history, which I think made Kyle. I think he's talking about the money involved, and how much money Kyle Larson received at a very young little boy age. For some reason. For some reason, it's always little boys begging for money from rich people. Clark, why? Tell me why, Clark.
Well, you need money to go fast.
Why does the racing world bred now, through the influence of Jeff Gordon's, where little boys and girls are begging rich old men for money?
That's the way it's always been, Chaz.
I mean, the Vatican did get in trouble. The Vatican did get in trouble.
They've barely scratched the surface on the Vatican.
That's my point, though. This is some sounds of freedom shit.
Here's the thing. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Jeff did not want to go Indy, but Kyle wanted to go, and Mr. Hendrick did.
I swear that Jeff Gordon has said several times I wanted to go. He basically took the script straight from Coach Trickle. Wanted to go to Indy, didn't have the money, and the opportunity was in NASCAR. Literally straight up the script, back to why he cried when Tom Cruise walked out. But anyway, continue. If Larry's right with regards to this, I might be a little bit concerned for Hendrick Motorsports under the guidance of Jeff Gordon when Mr. H hands everything over. Really? Hold on, let's get this comment on the screen. You are concerned?
Did he not want to go Indy because he sees it as being way too dangerous for Kyle? And Kyle's his biggest asset, or does he just not? He just wants to keep the status quo of what is today. You know, good little boys, being nice and quiet, being nice and professional, keeping your mouth closed. You know, William Byron's dad keeps spending millions and millions of dollars and bringing in that university money, which is a donation through the university for a tax write-off. You know, and then the university sponsors Hendrick Motorsports, right? That's how that works.
Right. We had the caller the other day talk about Hendrick's issues with the what bribery, was it?
In the 90s, yeah. He got house arrest.
Imagine if me or you did that, Clark. You think we're going to get house arrest?
Not unless we got billions.
You wouldn't see us again, would you?
Probably not.
All right, so back to what you just said. You made a good point. This is the other clip of Jeff Gordon that I wanted to play. I don't know if you need to get some volume on the live to hear it as well. But hold on, going to push play on it right now. This is about the extracurricular activities that you kind of just talked about. You know, stay in line, shut up and drive, boy. Do what I tell you. Go in the back room with that old man and get the bill paid. Let's hear it.
I think that they have to have a certain amount of responsibility of their own choices and decisions of, guys, we want you to come to the racetrack on Sunday and be as well prepared as you possibly can be to drive the race car. That's physically, mentally, and balanced in every way possible. And to me, that means you've got to have a home life and friends and family and relationships and activities that contribute to that. My whole career, I snowboarded. I did all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I love snowboarding. I still snowboard. Now when I fall, I do get injured.
Oh, Father Time, undefeated, Jeff.
So I don't have a problem with these guys, doing the thing. Just be smart about it. Do it. You just make wise choices as you're doing it. And when I pick Chase's brain about what there's nothing that I think he could have done any different. Is he going to make different choices because of what he's gone through and how he's seen how being out of the car has impacted his season? Maybe. And that's on him. But if I thought that the guys were out, I mean, I would like to have Larson race a little bit less in the playoffs, right? If I'm going to focus on anything, I'd like to see him running a little bit less sprint cars. But other than that, I love that he races, and I love that Chase is snowboarding and doing things that make him happy and he enjoys. Same with Alex, and same with William, and so we support that. But I think that there are limits to it, and those guys have to make those decisions. And I don't think we're going to have to worry about this for a while, by the way. After this season, and having to deal with some of those things, I think those guys learned the most valuable lesson of all of what kind of risk-taking they want to do outside the race car.
Okay, so you got it there loud and clear. I think
they have to have a certain amount of.
Did you hear that, Clark? Did you hear him say that about Kyle? And it seemed like he was talking about Kyle. It seemed like he was talking about. He literally said he'd like him to race less during the playoffs.
So what do I think about that? What I would say in that scenario, Chaz, is I would say maybe race less in the sprint car, more in the late model, just from a safety standpoint, or hop in an INC modified, right?
Just because, literally, just risk. Because of the livelihood issues, the potential for a Alex Bowman.
Yeah, the potential for an Alex Bowman, but also you got to remember Alex Bowman's built differently than a Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's a little guy, right? Little guys can take impacts a little bit better than some of the big bone people, right? once you get over that 6 foot mark, those impacts hurt a little bit more.
Right. He is a little lanky, scrawny piece of shit. We got a guy in the comment section losing his mind. Spike is going next level here. He says that Clark, you, is a part of the inner circle. He won't ever talk down the human ownership and the young white men love. He also says that athletic black men are just modern day thoroughbreds. Wow. Wow, Clark. These are some big accusations.
Good for him.
Are you shutting down?
No, I'm not shutting down. I'm just being honest with what I know, what I see. That's all.
Okay. And what do you see?
So, what do I see? I see in Jeff Gordon's comments, I honestly see that Kyle Larson should, during the playoffs, just race a late model, not a sprint car. Just from a liability standpoint. That's all I'm going to say on that.
And you literally think that he should do that? Is there a time where he could quit, Hendrick, or is that just too much of a money train to quit?
Why would you? Where else would he go? He's got a bank, like, you know, for what Kyle wants to do. He's got a bank a boatload of money to retire. Go sprint car racing.
Okay.
This guy has the opportunity to go. Chaz, he's got the opportunity right now to go race the Indy 500. He's got the ability to go race Le Mans. He's got so many opportunities to go do whatever the hell he wants right now. He's got Chevrolet by the balls, Hendrick Motorsports by the balls. He can go do whatever he wants.
He's got society by the balls. He could literally say the N-word next week and it would be easily forgiven.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, it's just like a woman. Once she cheats on you and you take her back, I mean, if she does it again, the hit ain't going to be as hard.
Yeah, but hits like that aren't going to happen anymore, Chaz.
How do you know this?
Because the consequences are absolutely insane in today's world.
Okay, so for instance, let's just say there's let's just say one of his sponsors on his sprint car is caught saying the N-word. What if Paul Silva was caught saying the N-word? Would that end his sprint car racing?
Probably not. They would obviously just, in that scenario, they would just go, you know.
What?
Owned by Rich Whiteman. What the hell? Why'd you retract your message?
He's getting scared too. But my question is,
what does he want me to address?
If a sponsor on one of his dirt cars or Rumley or Silva or anybody was caught doing nefarious activities in a racial way, wouldn't that relationship have to end?
Of course it would have to.
So that could be a way that Jeff Gordon could get Kyle out of sprint cars, is to send like an undercover operative in there and record one of these people saying the N-word.
Yeah, let's hope that none of that stuff, number one, happens currently.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I could give a hot blonde with a skimpy dress, a microphone to record, and go into the pitting area after the races and take out probably half the damn sport, at least.
I can tell you right now, probably around Larson right now, that people know that they can't F up right now around them.
That's true. That's true.
I bet you he's warned people. And don't be surprised if he has contracts in place stating that if this happens, it is your fault and you're going to take accountability and you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think that the people, you know, that are managing him are being very careful who's around him?
I would be.
Reminding him to be careful? You know, I'm telling you, like last night, I guarantee you that watch was on his wrist after the race, not.
I guarantee it was on during the race and he just covered it up.
Show me the evidence.
I guarantee it.
So, Chaz, you go to the next race.
I don't guarantee it as a fact. I guarantee it as understanding the truth. Speculation is fun. Sorry. Well, so hold on. So the guy, let's get off the watch subject because that's just so. I really don't care if he wears a watch. If all these racers and competitors don't care about that equality and fairness of the situation, why should I? I'm not their daddy. I'm not their policeman. You know, I'm not supposed to uphold justice in the racing world. It's not my job. I just talk about it. This Larry guy who's contributed $30, although freaking YouTube takes 30% of these super chats, an insane amount. We should have discovered YouTube. We'd all be rich. He put, when Kyle was banned in NASCAR, Bubba did not once stand up for Kyle or say anything to support Kyle. That's why I feel Bubba is a piece of shit. I actually don't believe that's true. Didn't he come out and say some things in Kyle's favor? Didn't he go on that
he did
podcast with not Larry Fitzgerald, but Brandon Marshall, the football players? I forgot the name of the show. It's a real good one, the something point or something like that. And he didn't defend Kyle, but he says, you know, he knows him differently and all that stuff. So
he said that they talked, and he said that the problem is, Chaz, is everything else was exploited and blown up, where that small segment that Bubba did was not blown up. It was just kicked under the rug.
Right.
Trust me, I saw it, and I also heard it in the background too. So, like, you know, I think everything that happened, and now things are, you know, on the mend, obviously.
The crazier thing about, in my opinion, on that whole scenario is obviously I think that a lot of older racing fans are disconnected from society. I heard a lot of people say, well, black people say it in music all the time. And it's like, no, if you hear a black person call a black person the N-word with the ER at the end of it, somebody's about to get shot, stabbed, or may not come back. I grew up in the pop culture era where the, you know, Nicola Please was every day. I was in a very diverse area. I did not, you know, we kind of, I guess us as kids and people growing up, we saw it as killing the actual negativity of the word because it meant something different. Now, what's funny, the meant something different, the N-word with the A at the end of it, like friend, term of endearment, the way that Kyle used it, and then the OG of Michael Facento, I would say, even how they're using it, they're not using it in the old school way. It's a new kind of meaning of you screwed me over or something. You did me wrong. Now, it still has negative connotation, and that's still the racism that does, you know, stay within, even in the way that they're using it with the ER, but it's not, it doesn't mean the same. The meaning, the intent of the word does not mean the same in the way that Kyle used it and Facento used it.
For me, anybody that uses it is just, I don't associate with people like that, period.
Well,
on both sides.
Well, I'm surprised you're in the racing world still.
What do you mean? I love racing.
Well, I mean, a dirt race is the closest thing to a public clan meeting you can get.
Dude, do you understand that in all forms of racing that you have the best people in the world and the absolute most degenerates in the world? You have
that's
everything
true.
in between. You literally have the poorest MFers. You have racists. You have everything.
Percentage
you have the
wise,
entire world.
You don't have a bunch of diversity in the color department or the mental department. If you go into a dirt track race wearing a Riding with Biden shirt, you're not walking out more than likely. Are we blind to this fact? Or are you?
No, I'm not blind to this fact.
I mean, hold on. That's not a fact. I mean, I don't have factual evidence that somebody's walked in and got beat up with a Biden shirt on, but I have a feeling based on what I've seen.
But that's also like you going to the south side of Chicago. You got to be careful what you wear, too.
In a way. I mean, I walked into when I was in Chico when they took over to Seattle and called it the Chaz, the whole Black Lives Matter deal. I went to that. Talked exactly how I talk right now about my opinions of the N-word and the A and the ER and everything. Just regular people. I think media scares us into fearing other sectors of society. And even in a weird way, I think that even though I could sit here and say that a dirt race is the closest thing to a public clan meeting, that if someone of a different diversity went to a race, they
I
would be
disagree.
accepted more than ever. So the perception. What do you disagree with?
I think racing's more diversified than ever before, and it's only going to continue to grow.
It's not politically diversified. It's not. It's definitely
but
not.
you don't want it to be
it's not ethnically diversified. Where is it diversified?
We need it to be on merit. That's the
Right,
thing.
and
You
there's
want
no merit
everything done on
involved, and I
merit.
think that's why we lack diversity. You can't be coming from the trailer park or the hood and being a superstar of racing like you can in the football and basketball sectors, because it's not based on merit, it's based on money. And white people have the generational wealth to be able to use that money to take over this racing world. That's one of the main reasons it's one of the greatest last white sports, because of the generational wealth that you're needed to be able to compete in it.
Hey, we can let Spike Fast Racing know that, thank God, there's PBR.
You're deflecting. This is fact, or not fact,
I'm not
but
deflecting.
intellectual assumption.
No, I think.
Where's the
basing everything
diversity? Hold on,
race
this is
just
interesting. Where's the
stupid.
diversity? Where are you seeing this?
What do you mean where? If you look at, you got to show up to the track, man, and look in the
Well,
stands.
I feel like I've been to more tracks this year than you. Not trying to compare here, but I've been to a bunch of tracks, and that's where my opinions are based on being at the tracks.
Where are a majority of these tracks? Are these in diversified communities?
From California to, I thought we were talking about dirt track racing in general, but I've been to some NASCAR racing sprinkles in some diversity, but I'm in specifics. I was talking about dirt track racing.
So here's the thing. If you're not seeing enough diversity at the dirt track, is that on you? Is that on the series, or is that on the promoter?
I think that's on the community. The community itself rejects diversity. The community is full. It's closer to a public clan meeting. I was at the damn Dome in 2020 or 21, one of the years here recently, and they're chanting Trump at the top of their lungs on the opening ceremonies. Somebody started a Trump chant.
And what is that?
And then the whole damn building started chanting Trump, 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 Trump. That's a closed-minded way of doing things. And this is the same people who say leave politics out of the sport, and they hate Bubba Wallace for doing it. What are you talking about?
But you're bringing politics into it, calling it a clan meeting. What the hell?
No, this is my assumption 4 years later after seeing it.
Yeah, but
I'm not making this assumption or a claim based on just thinking it. I've seen it. How am I bringing politics into the sport? They're the ones chanting it at the top of their lungs in a dome.
People are being lynched.
What are you talking about? It's obviously a joke, but it is pretty close.
Yeah, but by you making that joke, Chaz, you're making people who are fans of the sport look like fucking idiots.
That's not true.
Yeah, you are.
No, it's not, because plenty of people agree with this stance. It's too white.
It's too white.
A bunch of white people chanting Trump at the top of their lungs in a dome.
That's right.
Wear a Biden shirt to a NASCAR race. You come back and talk to me. A guy was wearing a damn a COVID mask at Chico, and it was all over Facebook the next day. People bashing him, calling him we don't need these crazy liberals at our track. This was a couple weeks ago.
Hey man. I'm telling you.
The reason it's how it is because of the community.
Okay, so then guess what? Guess what you need to do? You need to invite actual people that might be mentally stable to the racetrack versus the mentally ill.
Well, it's hard to judge that. We're in a country that lets mentally unstable people purchase weapons. And now you want to keep them from racetracks.
Fair enough.
What are you talking about? I'm in reality.
Yeah, but
we can fantasize about it. I'm not a track promoter. I would make big changes if I saw certain actions.
I would be putting
big
more
changes
pressure on
need
the
to
track
happen
owner.
as far as diversity is concerned. I'm trying to listen to where's the diversity coming from. You said it's here. I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't what I've been seeing for years.
I disagree.
Okay.
Maybe it's a pit area problem, but I don't think it's a grandstand problem.
It's way more than a pit area problem. Way more than a pit area problem.
So then guess what? Guess what we need then? Well, here's also your problem, right? You only get we
can call the bullshit out and make these people feel a little bit embarrassed, but if they got gatekeepers, can't really do that.
So again, back to my point, why do you think the World of Outlaw racing groups are all going to be going away? Change needs to happen.
Okay.
And it needs to reach a broader audience and not just a select few. That's all I'm saying.
Right. But if you try to bring in a broader audience and they can't even get through the gates and sit down wearing their riding with Biden apparel, what are you talking about?
Chaz, where's this rant going, man?
This ain't a rant. This is reality.
Hey, we should tell Larry that Kyle doesn't need 160 million. He only needs about 10 million, and he has an F1 seat.
I thought he can't go to F1 because he doesn't have the points. That's what his dad told me.
That they would make an exception.
I don't know how they could do that and break like regulation.
Hey, they break regulation all the time, like the Vatican. So.
Spike Fast just said it. You aren't going to get diversity to dirt racing because you can't even get the average white to show up, much less anyone else. It's 45 and older, and that's why the sport's dying.
Hey, if you guys want to keep supporting World Racing Group, it's going to continue going in that direction. Once
so you're saying hold on, the comedy here. You're saying that Kyle Larson, the guy caught saying the N-word and then blamed going to New Zealand, blamed New Zealanders for it, not the dirt pitting area or the dirt community in America, New Zealand. You're saying our only hope at diversity is to go with him?
It's a better alternative than what's currently out there. Because obviously you guys think that if you guys don't look at the way that things are right now, they're not going to change.
Well, I'm just saying, at least the World Racing Group has...
Tanner Holmes is going to bring more diversity to sprint car racing than World Racing Group is going to.
That's true, but he's from a part of the country that has a little bit different way of thinking. He's from the West Coast.
So, we need more...
That's why I say that's true. We need more Tanner Holmeses for sure, as far as exposing the sport.
We need
why
more...
is World Racing Group to blame? I mean, they at least had diversity in their hirings at Dirt Vision. They had female reporters, stuff along those lines.
They own the market.
I mean, if we want to, I mean, we were just talking about diversity as far as like political ideology. If we want to talk about the misogyny that is rampant in this sport, if we want to talk about that, we could talk about that issue as well. Misogyny is real. We have a bikini contest that is considered. There was a bikini contest at Silver Dollar Speedway, and they made a joke on how they don't even know if there's a bikini contest out there anymore that pays that much. Kyle and Brad were talking about that, and the reason that isn't is because that's considered barbaric. That's considered misogynistic. In the modern world, trophy girls in a bikini is considered misogynistic. Like, this is what I'm talking about.
F1 tried to do guys on the grid instead of grid girls.
Right. At least that's modern. That's modern. I'm just talking about the ideology that is in the community of the dirt racing world is so rejected to the diversity that is out there. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, World Racing Group's a sanctioning body for 5,000 racetracks in America.
Okay.
Problem number one.
Well, if you want to talk about who's a sanctioning body, I mean, you could get on the IMCA, but that's a bottom-level division. You're not caring about IMCA because they don't own a sprint car series that's very popular. You know, I mean, they do the same thing.
And
they're more tracks.
They're obviously not doing a good job trying to elevate the sport. And if at the end of the day, if you're not going to do a good job to elevate the sport and get it to a broader audience, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You know,
I think there's sprint cars. I think there's sprint car series. You could say that, but as far as weekly tracks or revolving events, that's on the track promoters. Isn't that on the track promoters?
Part of it, 100%.
Somebody just said, "Chaz, are you woke?" No, I'm not. I'm not woke. I'm aware. I'm aware of the world around me. I did not stay in a thought bubble out in the woods. I went and talked to people. Went to different areas and segments of society. I grew up in a very diverse world. I didn't just listen to the fucking TV screen and tell me what is and what isn't. So I'm not woke. I'm aware of the world I'm in, not the bubble that I stay in like the majority of the community of the dirt track world. That's the difference. But anything different is woke. And anytime I speak a little truth and it's not in your favor, I should not be able to speak. And now all of a sudden you're anti-free speech. You like free speech when it's in your favor. Just like you like politics when you're chanting Trump, but you don't want Bubba Wallace to take a different stance than that. It's just insane, the hypocrisy.
Hey, why don't one of these geniuses give us a better idea on how to improve the sport and grow the sport?
Well, I just think they would do what I just said. It's not my responsibility.
Okay, well then it'll never grow. If you don't do your part,
us. Okay, so a fan out here who has no money invested, no money that they're going to make, it's up to them to make the changes and to put in the work, not these promoters and series directors.
Hey, if everybody brought a friend to the track, there'd be more people.
Well, back to friendly and being acceptive of people different than you. I don't think that's a common trait in the racing world, or at least in the dirt world. I think F1 you see hints of that. I think NASCAR you see hints of that. And the hints of that you see in NASCAR, who's calling them dumb? Who's talking shit about them when they do stuff that could be progressively ideology-based? Who's talking shit? When NASCAR steps out of the thought bubble, they get ridiculed for it by the dirt fans. Right? Silence is sometimes the best answer. I'm just saying, there's a big problem within the dirt world, and they got to address it. They don't look in the mirror enough. Maybe if I got to get on the camera and tell them what's going on, then maybe they'll see something. I don't know. Maybe that's my job. But go ahead.
We need to change your reins. That's all I'm saying.
And you think that's Brad Sweet with the bikini contest and Kyle Larson with the N-word?
Come on, Chaz.
That's the truth, right? Did those things not happen? Did those things I just said not happen?
Yeah, but you're just going off on a tangent, dude.
I'm not going off on a tangent. This is reality.
You are. Yeah, well, Racing Group's done a lot worse.
What did they do?
Over there,
exactly.
20 years.
What did World Racing Group actually do in this department of diversity besides hire females and other people, besides put a diverse announcer as the Ruben Morales with the World of Outlaw Late Model Series? They have a diverse announcer. They have female reporters and media members. And you're telling me that if we want the diversity to go, we need to get with the bikini contest and the N-word guy.
All right, Chaz, we'll talk later.
Wow. Shut them down. Shut them down. There are gatekeepers on both sides of the fence, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable. I know that Spike has to at least... I mean, I'm getting riled up. When there's blatant, unmoralistic or anti-diversity or blatant misogyny or this or that, and it's blatant and I have evidence and I've seen it for myself, and I say it, and it's true, the things that have happened and could happen, and I'm being told that I'm wrong or I'm trying to stir this shit. What are you talking about? This is what's happened. This is what's happening. And and like I said, I don't know. It's not a fact that if you wore a Riding with Biden shirt into a dirt track at one of these premier events that you may go away in a damn ambulance, that you want to make it back to your car. But I assume, based on the things that I've seen, that that would happen. You would be in trouble, buddy. You would be in trouble. And it's a big issue. The diversity of the sport is a big issue, and the community is what's rejecting it. And then we want leadership like that. Now, I don't think Kyle is, like I said, the way he used the word to begin with wasn't necessarily the hardcore racist way. But this person, Clark, that just hung up on me, says that he doesn't associate with those people. But then he wants me to say, anyone who ever says that word, he said, but then he wants me to think that I don't go with World Racing Group, who's hired Ruben Morales, a Hispanic person, as their announcer for the premier late model series, has multiple females represented in their media group of Dirt Vision. And he wants to tell me that the way of the future to broaden our diversity is to go with the people of misogynistic bikini contest and the guy who's been caught saying I'm just saying, that just don't sound good. Once again, I think Kyle's very sad about what he did. He didn't mean to do it. He said it how he learned in the community that I'm talking about, which the community is the problem. And that's the point. That's the damn point of the rant. The community, the reason this dirt world doesn't expand in the diversity department or into the regular world is because it rejects the regular world. It begs for the good old days. It does not want to be progressive. It wants to be digressive. It wants to go back. You hear all the good old days, old timings. We even saw it in the comment section. We don't want to go forward. We want to go back. And that's why it doesn't mix into society, because it rejects societal ideologies and values and baseline beliefs that are meant for common decency. We have Spike on the damn line. I did not know this was going to be the turn of the conversation. Clark hung up. He tapped out. We tapped him out. Spike, save me. What's going on?
You need to testify because you exposed Clark for what he is.
Oh, no. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
You spoke the truth, and he can't handle the truth.
I think that's the majority of the racing world.
So, to sum it up, it's all WRG's fault.
That's what he said. That's how he tried to frame it. I don't mind calling a spade, but that was not calling a spade. That was calling a spade a damn club.
And then he says it's all our fault because we don't bring a friend. Wait a minute here. What am I supposed to bring him to? Can I take him to a WRG event? Because they're the problem, right? So, but no, I'll take him to Messiah Kyle and Little Brad's events. But they're supposed to be the fix of the problem. Interesting. Well, and they don't get to the root of it.
And in the context,
there's no exposure; it doesn't exist.
And in the context of the problem, we were talking about the problem being diversity, and he literally, oh my God! I mean, I hate it for Clark because he's a smart guy, but that was not a smart statement to say. Not go with World Racing Group, who's literally hiring diverse people. But go with the guy who's putting on bikini contests, which is considered misogynistic in today's society, degrading of women, and the freaking N-word guy, who I think, Kyle, I don't know what he is right now, if he believes it or not, but I'm just saying, is that not crazy to say take that route? Bring a friend to that guy's show.
Well, yeah, right. And
for the purpose of diversity.
Right. I mean, the moral of the story is this is a niche sport. So if I'm sitting in the farmlands of America and I'm saying people need to know more about Chicago rap, and it's a travesty that nobody knows about it here in the farmlands of the Midwest. What are you talking about? There is no exposure of this to people. So how are they expecting a sport to be exposed to the people when the only way is through a $40 a month paywall? Like, that is absolute insanity. And then there's, diversity. Well, baseball ain't diverse. I mean, if you want to call, Costa Rican and Puerto Ricans and Japanese baseball players diverse, but the crowd that watches is not diverse. So,
well, I mean, that is the problem with the phrase diversity. See, I don't just sway one way or another. It is unfortunate that it seems like today's form of diversity it's diverse when it's everything but white men. That's not good.
Well, no, and what I feel when I think of diversity, I say, where is the families and the teens and the 20s and the 30-somethings that, the 20-something, the guy that likes it's going to bring his girlfriend. She likes it. She brings her friends. They bring their boyfriends, right? That's where you start getting new fans, right?
Right. Diversity should not be based on one skin color.
Right, because, I mean, if you're just saying, blacks, okay, they're only 12% of the population. So really, if you have 100 people, there should be, about 10 there, right? So, all right, like if you get, 1,000 people at an event, 100 of them should be black. Okay, is that diverse then? Whatever. Like, I mean, that's foolish, right? Diversity needs to be age diversity. That's the biggest issue, because the sport will die as the fan base dies.
Well, I do think that race does play a factor, and I think that is one of the biggest issues with dirt track racing, is that it is, as my joke always has been and always will be until it changes, it's the closest thing to a public clan meeting. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but even if you go down south, I mean, there's a ton of black people at the races, so that's foolish to think that way
luckily
too.
Down there. The Chaz is a little sheltered. If you listen to black comedians, they use the N-word in every sentence. I've literally created the phrase Nicola please, because I said it the other way, just like they do all the time, but people get offended. But I'm always a smart ass, so I created Nicola please. If you lived in a black community, like in LA, the N-word is used in everyday life. That's where in Dallas, that was the same way. That's how I grew up. And then somebody said, if Chaz says it, it must be true, right? Diversity is not important unless you're hung up on a race.
Well, let's just forgive Kyle and say he never said that on the fake internet racing, right? So, whatever. The fact of the matter is, what is he doing that he's going to expose the modern day public, black, white, purple, yellow, whatever, to this supposed, second coming of Jesus that he's doing for sprint car racing?
Do you think that was Clark's point? That Kyle is closer to doing that than World Racing Group is?
How? Like, what is he doing?
Because he's reaching more people. He's younger. Dale Jr.'s talking about him. They're more flamboyant with the promotion.
This is nothing new, because when Tony Stewart was racing sprint cars when he was full-time NASCAR, the IRA in Wisconsin would put him on a bunch of events, and it would sell out to the point where they were selling pit passes to fit people into the event. This is nothing new. You put a NASCAR guy on an event. I mean, Chase Briscoe sold out Plymouth dirt track when he was on it, and he was terrible. Like, he couldn't even barely get around 2 laps. So, like, this is just, he's irrelevant. I mean, Tony Stewart 10 years ago was more relevant than Kyle Larson of today. Their NASCAR stars are about as famous as a hockey player now.
Yeah, fair comparison. Maybe you could help these people out with this comment. They said the UFC does pretty good with ring girls. And the next guy says, what's wrong with the women in bikini contest? Did I miss something? Now, Spike, you're probably the closest person to the regular world that I actually talk to. I'm out in the regular world all the time. Bikini contests, trophy girls, all these things, whether we think it's right or wrong, I think it's just harmless fun. But it is considered misogynistic in today's society. It is a form of degrading women. correct? In today's society.
Not in my, well, yeah, I mean, but that if you're going through the lens of where they're offended by everything, sure.
No, I mean, they could, there's a lot of people that see it this way.
Well, I think in California, I mean, bikinis probably aren't that big of a deal.
No, Midwest, Wisconsin, the city areas, the urban areas, the world.
Right. I know what you're saying.
I mean, there was apparently 84 million people that voted for Joe Biden to be president. I'm sure there's a few of those 84 million that know what I'm talking about.
So what's your question?
I thought you may be able to add some insight with all of your flamboyant experiences with the hot, sexy women of the world. You may have heard the same thing, that they think a bikini contest is misogynistic.
No, they don't think like that.
No, they don't.
No, I mean, maybe probably the types that wouldn't look good in a bikini, right?
Is that really what it is? Are they really upset at the bikini contest, or are they mad they can't win it?
I guess you have to ask them. I don't associate with people like that, so.
Okay, so you are in the bubble.
No, I just, it's just some calibers of humanity that people hang with, right?
I guess. Somebody said Hooters tried the waiter guy. It didn't work.
The who?
A guy as a waiter. It didn't work.
It all depends on where you are, right? The guy wearing the suit and tie mixing you $30 martinis, that's classy, right?
Right. Yeah.
The sports bar, probably want the hot chick bartender, right?
But isn't that classism?
That's what it boils down to.
Huh.
Because the guy that's going with the $30 martini place and getting the $100 steak is going with a hot chick. He doesn't need to look at another hot chick because he's got a hot chick.
So
the
it's
guy
kind of
that's
like
going up the sports bar needs to pay to see hot chicks.
So it's kind of like the poor guy just wants to take the drunk girl home, and the rich guy is trying to get, the order for the young boy.
Well, I think that the idea of money is power, right? After a while.
Right. You did have some interesting comments earlier about the Hendrick situation and about all these, what was it earlier? What did you want to elaborate on?
Did I?
Well, you said something that Clark was, he won't ever talk down on the human ownership and the young white men love. And you also said the athletic black men are just modern day thoroughbreds. What did you mean by that? Did you mean by what we're talking about?
It removed my original. It wouldn't post my, your chat. You must have it where it censors.
It probably automatically does.
Yeah, I think you gotta change your settings because there's some chats I go into and people just go off and it doesn't. Yours, it won't post.
It's probably because they got it 18 and under. You don't have to click a verification of age to watch my show, which I guess we probably do need that.
No, because I got a buddy that does like metal music reviews, and you can go in his live chat, and F-bomb all day, and it doesn't matter.
Right. But what was you talking about with the thoroughbred comment?
Oh, well, I just said that racing is,
athletic black men are modern day thoroughbreds, I believe is the actual
Yeah,
statement.
so I said if you're looking for a money laundering system, right? And these guys that are putting all this money into racing, they're not making money.
Right.
This is a way to major write-off.
Right.
And so obviously what you're going to find is a motor jockey. That's what you're looking for.
Okay.
And who are these motor jockeys, right? They're just these young kids that are being groomed from 5 years old on how to drive a car.
True.
So basically,
and
you want
to
to find
beg
the
people
best.
with money to give them chance and opportunity.
Yeah, and you want to find the best kid that's going to make you money, so that, like for example.
Now, hold on. Is it about money or is it about power? And what I mean by that
everything.
is, do you want to find a kid that can make you money, or do you want to find a kid that will do whatever you tell it because you want the power of control?
Well, it's all that encompassed, but you got to think about this. If you're if you own a race team, right? And so your business is going to sponsor the race team. Hopefully you can sponsor some events, maybe even eventually buy a track, and it's all just circular. It's all I'm paying my driver to win from the winnings that come from the track that I can write off more because the track costs money that my original business is funding, so I can write off more. And then I might sponsor another event or a series so I can write off even more. It's all just circular money, and it's all going back into the pocket.
Right. And that's the point behind the thoroughbred comment?
Well, right, because they wouldn't post my first comment because you got censored. But I said you're not going to find any, you're not going to go out there to try to find the athletic white guy, right? You're going to find the motor jockey. That's what you're looking for. That's the best way for a corporate America company to write off money, is invest in racing.
So I was taking it completely different. You know, I remember that joke with what was it, LeBron James or one of the football players or something. They called like a team the Plantation. You know, they just give them money and they perform. And then I also remember that old school movie, the Django Unchained. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. It's a great movie. And there was a part in the Django Unchained where they bring two black guys into the living room and they literally fight to the death for entertainment of the owners. And that was the entertainment. And then I think of cornhole, the game that they play at the racetracks. And I'm like, I was trying to figure out why everybody loves cornhole. And usually everything is based on some form of, you know, genetic enjoyment, evolved version of fun. And at the end of the day, I sat there in about 20 minutes. I was like, horseshoes. Cornhole is the evolved version of horseshoes. You know, old horseshoes was almost the same thing. You tossed it. You tried to get close. You tried to ring it around the deal. And you stand about the same amount, a distance away from one another. So if you took a picture of horseshoes and you put it to one side from the 50s, and then you took a picture of cornhole and you put it to the other side of 2023, you could see how both of those are cornhole. Now, if I took a picture from the Django Unchained of the two black guys fighting to the death in front of the slave master on one side, and I put a picture of UFC or Fritz Ngannou and Tyson Fury coming up on the other side, that's the evolved version.
Well, that's as old.
And that's what football is, and that's what that's what the gladiators in the building, the football, it's the same thing.
Sure.
So that's what I thought that you meant by that comment. I thought you were thinking
that's
about
what
that.
You've got that version of it, right? Right? You're going to have the athletes that's going to make big money, NFL, NBA, et cetera, right?
Right.
So, but who's the ownership groups of those?
Well,
those are foreign involvement in a lot of cases.
Well, I mean, people act like once slavery was abolished that these billionaire plantation owners just all of a sudden became broke. No, they just floated into the corporate side of society.
Right. And I hope this topic ain't killing off your chat room, but here's the reality of it. If I'm a business owner, and say my business makes, say it brings in $10 million, that's chump change compared to the billion-dollar corporations out there that own NFL teams, NBA, etc. Right?
Right.
But I still need to get in on this dog and pony show, right? I got to figure out how I can get my money cycling through this little recycling wheel, right? The money is just, it's washing. It's just
being
washing
in the
money.
system versus being out the system. Kyrie Irving, yeah.
So I basically need to find a, you know, what's the small, we'll call it small business owner version, right? The $10 million business version of it. Well, that's racing.
Interesting comment from Larry here. I'm just seeing it. Black people don't like dying. If you are driving a sprint car, you need to be ready to die. Kamikazes were willing to commit suicide. Kyle is half Japanese. Hence why black people don't like sprint cars. That, thanks for the super chats, Larry, but I don't know if I can agree with some of these.
Well, because even if there was a chance of death every year in the NFL, right? Let's just say it was you know, how many deaths have there been in racing this year? What, 1 or 2 probably?
Right. Well, regardless, he's trying to talk about some kind of generational fear, I guess is why he's trying to relate Japanese and Kyle, and the kamikazes. But if we're going to talk about generational fear, black people, aren't they from, most people would say, I guess all black people are from the continent of Africa, and isn't there lions, tigers, and everything in the world that can kill you when you're walking down the street? So wouldn't there be less generational fear if you're used to that being your environment?
Well,
so
I don't know. I
just disagree with that comment completely.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to die. Like nobody, but I'm just saying, even if there are 2 deaths a year in the NFL, you're still going to have people getting into the NFL.
Right. I think there's a little more fear being a linebacker or on the special teams of a football team than there is driving a modern day sprint car in a way. Way more physical commitment. I mean,
well, I
don't know who's been hit. Has anybody in this chat actually been hit by a guy running at 15 or 20 miles per hour and you're running 10 or 15 the other way? It's a little worse than a flipping a sprint car sometimes, I think.
Well, right. I mean, the amount of concussions before they started testing them, I think, is probably insanity. I mean, probably 100 concussions in their career, probably some of these guys. You know? But you got to think about it. If you've been trained from 5 years on that you need to go fast and do good because that's going to make this rich owner happy and mom and dad will be happy, and you actually can become something because you're going to be 5'3" and nobody otherwise, right?
Well, what's the reward? What's the reward? Money? You're a somebody, but you have no actual freedom, which is what everybody's getting all that money to have. So they're setting them up for lifetime slavery.
That's what I said. It's child trafficking.
It is. It's a corporate version of it. Wow.
It's farming. Like my buddies, some of them are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation farmers. They can't get out of it.
Wow.
Because that's all they know.
Wow.
They talk about it. Oh, I'll just sell the farm. I'm done with this. No, you won't.
Yeah, it's not like driving a race car is a skill that you just walk up anywhere and do it. You have to have people give you things to be able to do it. So you're literally always a slave to the person who can provide the government cheese known as a race car.
Well, it's kind of like the carny, the carnival or the circus back in the day, or a protected industry almost. And
wow.
Even wrestling probably before the 80s, where it was a protected sport that people believed. You married a wrestler's daughter or a promoter's daughter because they understood the business, right?
Right.
You had kids, and then they were 2nd, 3rd generation, and the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why, if you think about it, you were mentioning the other day, you said, why don't these midget drivers just get out of doing the midgets and try to graduate to a better level? I don't know. Probably because there's some comfort and solace within that clique, that group of people that are doing that.
Right, and that's how it becomes such a tribal sport.
You were mentioning the other day how Bryson got gobbled up in that lesser 360 division.
Yeah, USCS destroyed.
Well, I mean, you think about it. If I go from high school to college football, then the pros, right? Each level I go to, I'm gonna have a learning curve.
Right, but people aren't considering USAC midgets that low of a division. That was my point.
Even if she said, well, I'm going to give it a year and I'm going to give it a go. You know, I'm going to suck for a few months, but, you know, maybe I'll win a heat and eventually make top 10 in features. You know, she would have the plan, right? No, it's easier if I just quit and go back to what I know.
Right.
I'll just kind of go back to the other kids that are, you know, we're just kind of showing up, frolicking, and doing our little midget thing, you know.
But I just think it comes back to privilege. They're raised in so much money that they've never done anything that they have to do. It's always what they want to do.
Oh, well, 100%. There is no reality of things. What happens to these guys when their career is over? They end up making parts or some kind of investment back into the sport, right?
Right, like Jason Myers with Sanders, Darren Pittman with the Ultra Shield. Yeah.
But see, I don't think that this modern. So I feel a lot of those guys were still probably tradesmen that had some kind of. They probably knew how to fix their car, wrench their car, weld. Right? They generation of guys. Yeah, like a Pittman, and you know, doesn't he have some kind of a investment into the sport? And then the guy that's in Texas now, maybe that's the same guy.
Yeah, Pittman moved to Texas to run Ultra Shield racing.
So
seats.
Right. So it's like, I'm sure he understands. He's not just hiring a engineer to design all this. He probably is to some degree, but he had a concept and probably, you know, drew it up and made it, and he probably has some abilities.
Right.
Do these modern day guys have any of that? I mean, God bless them, but some of these guys, it's like you walk up to them and they're ready to pass out because you said hello to them, you know?
And they're calling me sheltered.
Sometimes. Well, it's almost like you're looking, you know, you go into the gas station sometimes and you see, you know, like, you know, you just start reading people, right? You know, they always say, like, you know, always be aware someone could be human trafficked, right?
Right.
And it's like you walk up to, like, some of these young guys that are, you know, might be on a little tour now and they're out of California, right? And, you know, you're like, hey, man, how's it going? Like, you did good tonight. Thanks. I'm pretty terrible. I got to do better.
No offense, but
you feel bad. You think, are you the 12-year-old girl in the gas station that I need to save too?
Think about it. Like, I hate to say it, but think about, like, do you think, like, so I've drove across the country a couple times, and going from where I'm at right now to, like, say Eldora or something, you got to go through Chicago, and I don't like paying tolls, and you got to sometimes go down some streets that are pretty interesting and go to some gas stations that are pretty, you know, remind me of my childhood. They're rough areas. Do you think that I could pull into this gas station in the south side of Chicago and be with any of these people? Name one of these midget drivers who have been given all this money in this lifestyle and never went out. Do you think they would be able to go inside and buy me a bottle of water, or would they faint before they got to the front fucking door? Would they wouldn't even get out of the car. They would be telling me to leave. We got to go.
They faint just having someone say hi to them at a racetrack. I mean, really, it's weird. But that's what I'm saying. You can see the social,
mental issues,
whatever you want to. Well, yeah, the social deficiencies that they have, and
yeah, it's like anxiety, but times 10.
Yeah, which I mean is a product of Gen Z and whatever else, but I think it's to another level now because it reminds me of that U.S. gymnastics team documentary where these people would mortgage their houses, $300,000 or more to put their 14-year-old girl through some kind of academy so she could maybe go to the Olympics and win in a medal, which means nothing, really. Like, you don't make any money. So then what happens when you become the gold medalist gymnast? Well, then you start your own camp.
Right.
You start your own gymnast academy.
That's sad.
Well, wait a minute here. So you never can break free? You're always going to be, you're in this trafficking in essence.
Yeah. That's sad, but that's what it is.
And I tell you what,
it's corporate trafficking.
Right. And that's why I give Keith Kunz Motorsports the biggest kudos. Because you know what? He was just a regular dude from Indiana, right? Him and his brother. Is that correct?
You said it, not me.
Well, right. I don't know, right? He was just a regular race car driver, him and his brother from Indiana or somewhere, and I think they just, did midgets and other dirt forms, and then I think he started to see, I could do renter rides. And the next thing you know, I got some interest from some, Toyota or NASCAR or road course, whatever it may be. Well, what's that worth? What's that worth to a family? If I can get your kid through the door in NASCAR or road course racing, well, put a price tag on it and people will pay it.
That's true. That's true. All right, it looks
it's
like
no
somebody wants
than,
to argue, Spike.
Well, of course
Brian
they do.
Webb wants to call in. I wonder.
It hurts their feelings when the truth is spoken. It hurts. So, but I was going to say it's no different than high school sports. I got guys where their kids are good at baseball, hockey, whatever. Well, hey, your kid is really good. Oh, thank you, sir. I think he'd be great for the traveling team, the traveling baseball team. Oh, what is that? Well, it's all the elite players in, a 3-hour radius here. Oh, that'd be amazing. I'm so flattered. Well, yeah, so for traveling team, it's going to be $15,000.
Wow.
Wait, what? So you mean like for my kid, because he's so elite, he has to pay money to play? Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people there that are going to see him and he has opportunity to go to camps. And, oh, by the way, those camps are $5,000 for a weekend. Oh, okay, interesting. So it's no different. They're just taking the kids that aren't athletic.
You don't technically have to, but you don't technically have to go to those camps.
No, but you're just going to play.
If you perform when the whistle blows on the field or on the court, it don't matter if you went to camps or not. Those camps are hoodwinks as well, because they tell these athletes that aren't as naturally gifted that we can make you better than the guy who is. The guy who is naturally gifted don't go to those damn camps. The people who are not that good buy the hoodwink thinking that it's going to make them better than the guy who's better, and it don't work.
But the camps are also getting the coaches in on it so that when the regular baseball season is going on, maybe the kid that didn't pay and go to camp, he doesn't get played as much.
I've heard about that. Same with the colleges and the alumni and the investors putting certain people to get them on the team.
So that's all. What my full comment was that athletic black male is the thoroughbred. He's going to stand out, right? Because those dudes are elite.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey's pretty badass. There's athletic of all colors and creeds. That's what I.
Well, I get it, but what I'm saying is, what about the nerdy little white guy that okay, maybe mom and dad paid for him to go to little league camps and stuff. He still sucks.
Right.
He's just a gangly little white boy. He sucks.
They have to buy race cars to to outprice competition because they can't beat
Yeah, you know, what
These
happens
are the failed
next, right? You know,
athletes. The racers are the
Right.
failed athletes.
They're the unathletic, gangly white kid that's rich.
Right. And wants to be cool in a sport. So they created motors that cost a lot of money.
That's what I said. They're just a motor jockey for the rich white guy that's trying to launder money.
And it's mixed it into human corporatized trafficking.
Right, because you have to get people convinced of it at a young age.
Right. That is crazy. That's crazy.
Because think about it. I mean, if by 16 or 18, I'm like, yeah, I like going fast, and you know, maybe a buddy of mine's running IMCA or something, right? And I say, I want to get into that. And you know, say I'm working at the welder plant, you know, making decent money. Well, how do I get into this? Well, you know, it's going to cost you X amount. Okay, I save up my money, and then it's just something that I do for fun on the weekends, right?
Right.
I have a perspective of it because I'm a working class man that's like, you know, this is just for fun. I'm not going to, but if I get brought into it at a young age, this is all I know. I don't dream of becoming a welder. I just dream of becoming a race car driver. That's it.
That is so crazy. And that also, you know, goes back to the age thing. I think the biggest issue is when racers stopped getting fame in the 30s. And the young racer became the hot thing. But if the 30-year-old guy is more cool than the little kid, then you can't have what you just described happen. It's imbalanced. You need the situation to be only the young guns get the attention, because that's the only way you're going to be able to breed the situation that you're describing. That has to be the goal.
Well, and I think back in the day, even in the sprint car world, because I think late models are still the real men out there that you know you can go and have a beer with, right?
It's still it is, before you continue, it is still the closest thing to a public clan meeting, and they might be a little worse as far as diversity, but continue.
Well, and there's some reasons for that, and I can get into that eventually, but the sprint car world, I mean, back in the day, right? You had a Steve Kinzer, right? I mean, dude, that guy looked like a badass, right? Which he actually was. He was like a NCAA wrestling champion or something.
Right.
And you can go down the list. You know, Danny Lasowski kind of looked like a little Tasmanian devil, right? Like you were like, dude, that guy probably could kick someone's ass. And then, but you all envisioned it like, man, I could have a beer with that guy. And if you went in the pits, you probably were like, hey, Steve, hey, Danny, like, awesome race. You kicked ass. He'd be like, hell yeah, thanks, man. You know, like he was cool. Right? And then even like a Donnie Schatz was the young guy coming up and winning a lot, you know, and people kind of hated him, but he was also kind of the Jeff Gordon, right? Because he was kind of this young, you know, they kind of looked at him like the rich kid, even though like his folks were, you know, gas station owner, but still, like they looked at him like he was the rich kid, and he was kind of, you know, he's just young, so he looked better than the other guys, right? You know, didn't have the wrinkles and the grit, you know, so he had this young guy look to him, and people hate that, right?
Yeah, I would say the modern Jeff Gordon Dale Sr. would be Donnie Schatz and David Gravel, but continue.
Right, but then on the same token, but now all of a sudden all you've got is everyone's a young Jeff Gordon now.
Right. Or failed Jeff Gordons, because they're in sprint cars.
Well, sure. But, I mean, we'll just say in an analogy, they're all, like, caught in that early 20-something range of Jeff Gordon. But so then it's kind of like, well, who do you really like then? If you're a guy that's, you know, because obviously I'm 40, so, like, when I was a kid, I went to the World of Outlaws, and all those guys were gritty, you know? That had been the early 90s, right? So, like, who am I going to really cheer for these days that I can relate to?
You can't. Not anymore. You used to be able to.
So, you know, you're kind of like, yeah, this is weird now. Because whether they're underage or not, I mean, they all look small, you know?
Right. And I still say it kills the reputation if you're a local racetrack. If you have a kid walk out of that race car in Victory Lane, the regular person instantly loses respect for that vehicle. Instantly. If I see a kid doing something, it's a kid level.
Well, and that's why, I mean, I still remember going to the races as a kid, and I was probably 13, 14 at the time, and I was still able to speak properly and such, and I'd go up to the Steve Kinzers, and the Joey Saldana was a rookie at that time. And I remember I'd go up, and they had an autograph program, and I'd say, oh, like, I love you, I didn't say I love you, but I was like, I think you're great, and, you're the fanboy, right? But you talk to them respectfully, and they were cool. They were like, well, thanks for coming. Where do you come to the races a lot? Where do you usually go? And then they're talking about racing, and you're like, oh my God, this race car driver's having a conversation with me about racing,
Right.
It was a cool experience. And then obviously if a dad is with, he's like, hey, thanks for taking the time to talk to my boy, and you did awesome. You're awesome. You're my favorite too. And then he's like, oh yeah, man, thank you. And then
you just can't have those conversations anymore.
Beer with that guy. Well, right now I see them, and it's like assembly line autograph sessions.
Yeah. No real communication, no human involved.
Well, it's weird because
it's the results of the trafficking that you're talking about.
Well, I also think it's just you're an asshole.
Or you're privileged.
Like, really, when it comes down to it. When it's all said and done, you're an asshole.
Yeah. We did. Go ahead.
Well, because if someone is taking the time and they're decked out like a Build-A-Bear with all your gear, and I'm not talking a Kyle Larson fan, I'm saying whoever. I mean, I'm going to give that guy a lot of time of day because he's a hardcore fan of me, right?
Yeah.
And he's got a couple little kids with him, and they're decked out too, and I'm going to kneel down and talk to the kids and thank them. And, dude, I see it at the tracks. The kids decked out from head to toe. Ma and dad are decked out from head to toe. And they got their back to the family. And then some crew guy will go, hey, kind of like, hey, these idiots want to talk to you. They turn around, pull out the Sharpie, scribble, 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 scribble.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Turns back around and starts talking to the...
Well, not even that. I see it where the dad goes, hey, thanks a lot. Or maybe they'll take a picture with them too, and then, thanks a lot. Like, my kids, like, they think the world of you, and we just love watching you race, and it's so cool to see you tonight. And, like, if you get one word out of the guy, it's impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that fears...
They walk away. Just walk away then from the family.
Yeah, it's horrible. Disconnected from society. I know we did talk...
And I said, that's not being a child race car driver. That's just you were an asshole. Like, you were an asshole, and you've been raised by assholes.
Yeah. Product of that society. We did talk about fear earlier, and somebody just commented, this Larry's been good with the super chats. I know you talked about, to me, Spike, about these super chatters, this poor fan base that we have. I start speaking some truth as far as diversity is concerned, and the super chats come in now. This is why NASCAR sold out. They did it for the money. He says in the 50s and 60s, they did not have power steering. These wimpy kids could not drive a NASCAR or sprint car, hence why you had to be a bulky dude to drive. And that's even the case in modern day. I didn't know it. Indy cars don't have power steering. I did not know that, but they don't. And I also think that the fear, these slide or die people, we think about old school racing and how dangerous it was. Lap belts and leather helmets. And yeah, we see all these wrecks where people got killed and stuff. But there's a lot of video out there. A lot of people race those cars and never wrecked. A lot. We see the horrible death videos, which there's let's just say there's thousands. But there were tens of thousands of racing events, and nobody got killed. Nobody died. People raced one another with leather helmets and leather lap belts, and everyone survived for years. Some people never got in a wreck. And I think that is because of the fear element. Today, they're in their damn little nice, cozy seat. You know, they get in a wreck and they walk away. I have a feeling that when you were going down the back straightaway at Indianapolis with a lap belt and a leather helmet, that you didn't pull off stupid-ass moves because not only could the person next to you die, but you could die too. And I think that fear element is a big part of why some of the racing is different as well.
Yeah, I agree. But you have no fear if you've been raised so that this is all you are alive for.
Right. Well, you want to die for. It's worth dying for.
This is all you're known for.
Right.
This is why you exist. And
it's like a Christian missionary.
If you don't do it, you suck and you don't exist. And honestly, this is some next level stuff. But do you almost think that some of these guys, I mean, this is maybe deep and this may be inappropriate, but don't you think that some of them are like, I would love to be the next Brian Clausen?
Huh. Well, I mean, I made jokes about this in the real world or the big world out there. You know, that you know, they ain't just Epstein's Island out there. There's, you know, another island where Prince and Kobe Bryant and Tupac are chilling. Because once you get to a certain level of stardom and you've already became God on earth, the only way to literally witness or to have the masses worship you and chant your name and pray at your image is to die. You have to die. And then you are enshrined.
Right.
And that's been my conspiracy theory about some of these really, Kobe Bryant, a Prince, a Michael Jackson, whatever. The only way you could witness that happen is if you fake your death.
Sure.
And then you go to the other island, and you go to this island where another Black Rock trillionaire or whatever has turned an island into, you know, Manhattan. You know, because those islands, I'm sure, are out there. There's probably islands that are like Manhattan, like major cities with all the amenities and everything, just like we have in our modern society. There's islands out there that are better than the damn Disney World resort. You know what I'm saying? So they just go and chill there for the rest of their lives. Live at Gilligan's Island, the Freemason symbolism in Gilligan's Island.
Sure.
They've been doing it for years.
Because you can't escape the persona that's been attached to you, right?
Right. It's over. You're encased. And you're talking about what happens in the music and movie industry. What you've described with the kids in racing is what's been happening in the entertainment element of the sport or of this world for how long? You know? Because if all you can do is sing...
documentary.
Go ahead.
On the ESPN about a guy that made it to the majors. And he got an injury, and so then he had to rehab and then went up to AAA, right? So he's being called back up once he's done being hurt, right? I mean, this is just simple stuff, right?
Right.
He went and tried blowing his brains out because he wasn't no longer in the majors. It's like, dude, you're in AAA getting rehabbed, like, but he needed to be in the MLB. And felt that was all he was, because he talks about it. This is all I've ever done since I was young, and I need this, and I need to do this, and I'm not there right now, so I will kill myself.
Right.
Well, he screwed up and just blew his fucking eyeball out, basically. And ironically, I went on a few dates with his sister, so it's kind of weird. But
is that how you learned about all this?
No. Before he blew his fucking brains out. So. But he blew his eyeball out. So he's still alive to this day. And so what did they do? They made him the MLB mental health advocate, right? So if you're an MLB player and you're struggling with the fact that you fucked your arm up and you got to go to AAA to get your strength back, he'll talk you off the ledge. Wow. Holy shit. Like, is USAC and WRG going to have that soon?
Yeah, what are these guys going to do?
I mean, fuck, you ain't going to be T-Mez where you're 45 years old racing with the kids. I mean, eventually you're old. You're old hat. Like, you can't do it no more.
Well, and I think people look, and I think this is what's going on now. They look at a T-Mez, or they look at a Donnie Shots. You know, they look at a Jason Sides and a Bill Rose, and they go, anything but that. I want to be anything in this world but them. I don't want to grow up to be T-Mez. I don't want to grow up to be Jason Sides. Please don't. They look at that as a prison sentence. That's a nightmare for them.
Well, but I think the reality is if you want to make a lifelong career of it, unless you somehow figure out a way to create a business out within the racing world, if you're going to be a motor jockey the rest of your life, you know, I've watched T-Mez's videos and his Instagram videos back in the day. I mean, he does not live in a mansion. He drives like used vehicles. In fact, he like brags about how he'd be like, yeah, I found this vehicle for $3,000. You know, like, he's living very below his means for a reason.
Because he has to.
Like a Jason Sides is grilling hot dogs every day. Probably sleeping in his hauler. I mean, that's the reality. You're a carny. You're living like a carny if you want to do this the rest of your life as a motor jockey. That's reality.
And I think that's also that there is some credibility to do. That's why people hope that they go to NASCAR.
Yes.
They don't want to be that. And they feel like if they don't make it in NASCAR, that what you just described is their life. I think that's why also Jacob Allen and some of these people have left the sport. They don't want to be that. I think that's the big reason.
What do you think he's going to do?
He's going to do anything but be Jason Sides.
Well, I'm just curious, though. I mean, what is the opportunities for a lot of these guys once they hit, say they all hit 30 and they just, you know, you're old now and you're not as young and fast as the 18-year-old, right? What do you do?
I think they are. I mean, there is a fun element to drive. Let's not make it all gloom and doom. There is a fun element to racing sprint cars and driving dirt cars, and driving a race car for a living is, I would assume, very fun. I just have to guess. So being Jason Sides isn't necessarily a bad thing or a Bill Rose. I mean, you're 50, 60 years old. You're racing race cars. You know, it might be a bad thing to be a T-Mez. I mean, I don't know. But these other examples like Sides or Shots or, you know, flying around in your jet. I mean, some of these things, it's not a gloom and doom in scenario. But when you're some of these privileged kids, like a Ryan Timms or something, there's a reason they're saying they want to be an F1 driver. I think Kaylee Bryson said the same thing, wants to be an F1 driver. You know, because they're looking at the lifestyle. And that's what Ryan Timms told me at Houston's. He's like, well, you get to travel and you go to Italy and you go here and you go there. It's not really about the racing. It's about the life.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is it's all about, so for example, if you're a fan that goes to the races, what do? You probably got a little RV, some kind of a camper. You're grilling food. You know, you're living in a T-shirt and shorts, right? And now imagine if you could do that, but then the trade-off is you just got to race the car at night, right? I mean, that's a cool little life, right? But if you're looking at it from the standpoint of, well, I want the Prevost Class A diesel pusher gold standard series that's got the king size waterbed in it RV, because that's what I had when I was with such and such motorsports. That's not realistic.
Right.
That's just a small piece of your history, and that's cool that you had that, but just understand that that's not the way it's going to be. You're probably going to be, sleeping in an RV,
Sleeping in an RV ain't that bad.
Oh God, no, they're beautiful, especially
there
nice
are some,
nice summers.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that
beautiful.
the problem is maybe and this is I'm always challenging my own thoughts and ways of seeing things. When you think of a life of a Sides or a Bill Rose or a lifetime a Carney member of the dirt racing world, that life in itself is probably 60 to 70 to 80 times more enjoyable than being a 9-to-5 laborer, worker, slave, like 80% of the world.
Right.
But back to the Tims and these people, to the privileged ones, they don't even know that. They've never experienced a full year of a 9-to-5 job. They ain't even, I'm just saying, they don't,
right.
the reality of that, of how privileged you are to be a Jason Sides or to be a Bill Rose, the literal privilege in the world that position is out of sight, out of mind to them because they've been raised in privilege.
Well, and I wouldn't go so far as to say that a Bill Rose and a Jason Sides actually may make more money than some of these big conglomerate groups at the end of the year.
What do you mean, conglomerate groups?
Well, I'm not talking where it's where there's some millionaire funding you. Obviously, you have no risk, right? But I'm just saying, those guys that are just kind of living out of the hauler and, they're buying the $1 pack of hot dogs and, they're just living very low expense rate. They're getting the $500 a night tow money. They're finishing in the top 12 in points. So
you're saying they could be making more than somebody who owns an auto body shop or something.
Well, I'm saying it's some of the guys that are maybe a few ranks above them on the sprint car leaderboard, right? They might actually be profiting at the end of the year because they don't have all that extra expense. They're not having extra crew guys or the whatever else, all these other expenses, right?
Right.
They're just trying to get by with the equipment they have.
Yeah.
So, and that might be far-fetched, but I would say that the stress level is way better for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus the guy that's like, oh, God, we've got to buy this new thing and that new thing because we got to try and maybe we can make a top 5 or something,
Well, we are closing in on the 2-hour rate. I do want to close this off at the 2-hour rate. You are off all day today though, and there is racing tonight. So are we down to get a little tipsy tonight and talk shit or what?
Yeah, where?
Right here, live.
Oh, going live, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about you want to come? You want to go somewhere tonight? Is that what you're saying?
Well, where's there to go?
There is nowhere to go. I will read some comments here. Kyle Larson does not drive non-wing sprint cars anymore because he does not want to die. They came out with wings to decrease deaths in sprint car racing. I have recently been saying that winged racing is more dangerous than non-winged racing because the impacts, the sudden stops is what hurts people. And wing cars are always on the throttle, so anytime it gets in a wreck and comes to a sudden stop, it's harsher. Flips and wild flips through the air like the non-wing cars do. The seat innovation, the armor straight innovation, the helmets, everything else like that. People are not dying anymore because of snap rolls. Arms aren't coming out of the vehicle like they used to. I don't think snap rolls are what's killing people or hurting people, which is why they invented the wings, because the wings help the rolls slow down. I don't think hard snap rolls are hurting people. I think sudden impacts are, and I think you see higher and heavier and higher speed impacts in winged racing than non-winged. So I would argue that winged racing is more dangerous than non-winged racing. Although I saw a few wrecks at Knoxville this year that made me rethink that thought. Brian Webb says he's been talked shit about on here. He wants to call in. Brian Webb, you just need to contact. I don't know. He says definitely would like the opportunity to call in. Already been called out in one of your shows. I don't know who Brian Webb is, but we can go down tonight later. We'll probably go live around main event time or so with the Outlaw event. And you can call in. We got emails and Facebooks and all that. You can message me. I'll get you lined up with the proper number. But anyways, any thoughts on those things? Who the hell is Brian Webb?
Who knows? I guess he's offended because he's a rich kid that was human trafficked at age 5 or something.
Or maybe he's a racist or a misogynist.
Maybe he's a rich old white guy and he needs to find a race car driver to launder money through.
Or take in the back room and make him do whatever he tells him for a certain amount.
Yeah, I mean,
why do they want little kids,
forecast.
Little boys and girls in the bedroom begging anything, please, anything for my racing career?
I hope to God it ain't that way, but I think it's just mom and dad are the ones spending a lot of money, so that's the real power trip.
Yeah. What was you about to say? The weather? Is it taking out?
Oh, weather tonight, Port Royal. It looks like 9 o'clock is when the good chance of rain is going to happen.
Do you think that they are gonna move it up an hour or two, or maybe go faster than they did last night? I mean, it took how damn long to? I think the total race was 6.5 hours with one class.
Do they have a support class tonight?
Not sure.
Yeah, so 9 p.m., which is 10 p.m. over there. So they might be able to get it in.
Okay.
If as long as they don't have 10 support classes and screwing around with that, but.
Okay. Well, you're going to be calling in tonight. What?
Tomorrow is clear. Tomorrow's clear for them.
Really? So tomorrow is
the
go.
No rain tomorrow. No rain tomorrow for them.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, at least on today's show, it wasn't all kumbaya. I need more people in here with differing opinions. We need to have some debates, you know.
Well, and let's
debate. What was that earlier? You wanted to talk about women or something? What was it that you was like, I could dive more into that, but...
Oh, well, what I was going to say is who is the only full-time Wings 410 girls at the moment? And it's probably, to some degree, McKenna Hassey, right?
Yeah, McKenna Hassey, yeah.
I would say, or Harley White, I think they all put in probably about 50 races a year, if not more, right?
Right.
So they're running as much as, say, All-Star tour would be.
Correct.
So my theory was, could a McKenna Hassey, a Harley White, Paige Polyak, could they show up, and if they ran regularly, say with the MOA or the IRA or whatever else, some of these lesser divisions, could they come in and could they win the whole series in the first year?
I think they could win IRA. I think if you gave Jade Avedisian a decent ride in IRA, that'd be interesting to see.
Well, Brendan Crouch, first year in, won the IRA.
Yeah, and he's horrible. He's horrible.
Yeah, and what it was is he was consistent.
And he probably was one of the only guys to show up at every race.
There's a lot of regular IRA guys. It's just it's either top heavy or bottom heavy, and you're one of the top 3 every time, top 5, or else you're a second or 2 behind everybody.
You know, with what you just said, you're either top heavy or bottom heavy. It made me think of white women. We should talk about women tonight.
I like that. That's always a good topic.
Top heavy or bottom heavy?
Right. Or you need a hybrid, both, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, they just buy them now and put them on mechanical.
Well, that's true.
There's been some girls on my damn Facebook reels that when I scroll, I'm like, what the fuck? I block them. Too much eye candy. Too much. I literally go to their profile and block them.
You do not.
Yeah, I do. I got a lot of discipline. I understand that the one thing that trumps money as far as power and control is women. For us guys.
So what did you do at the bikini contest? Did you cover your eyes?
I looked at my phone the entire time. And honestly, none of the girls were attractive to me, honestly. I just thought that they were too skinny. The number 7, the one black chick was okay as far as my style.
There are a few in that were probably good size 20, I'd say.
Not how I like the 20 at least.
I mean, at least probably a size 16.
There's a certain way to wear the weight. Back to top heavy and bottom heavy. So there's
you can't really wear it in a bikini. Yeah, they'd have to do like a one piece to really get
I'm just saying there's 20-ounce bottles that have curves, and then there's 20-ounce. There's like the Diet Pepsi 20-ounce, just straight flat down. It's the same amount of weight. They just wear it differently.
Yeah, some are built. They're built like Red Bull cans,
Yeah, some.
There's a little Red Bull cans, the big Red Bull cans,
I like the I didn't say big or small. There's 20-ounce bottles of Coke out there in the Coke bottle shape, and then there's 20-ounce bottles of Pepsi, or the cheap off-brand that are just straight flat down, but they're still 20 ounces. They just don't have no curve.
Right.
So.
Right.
Two girls could be size 20. One's going to look like a 10. One's going to look like a 5. It depends on how the bottle's shaped. That's what I'm saying.
I get it completely. So who are those participants? Are those girls that just kind of do a little, like, go on tour, finding bikini contests, or these race car fans?
I don't want to speculate on who they are and blah, blah, blah. I mean...
No, for real. I mean, are they local feelers?
I heard that they come from the not. I heard they come from the dark sides of the night.
Where's that? Can we hang out there or what?
I'm not talking anymore. I'm going to get sued.
Because I mean, all I remember from that trip is you almost got beat up because you exposed the 16-year-old that didn't tighten his straps correctly.
I didn't say that.
And you met Broke Joe.
Well, Joey Batts is the one who told me about how all the girls, they used to work for him.
What, all the girls in the bikini contest?
I mean, he was probably lying or joking or being Joey Batts, but that's kind of what he said. I said, where is she from? Oh, she used to work for me.
Oh, what, did he run a strip club or what?
No, he ran interesting situation. He was accused by the San Jose Police Department of running a prostitution ring, and OJ's lawyer, Robert Shapiro, came and got him out.
Oh, so he was just joking about that. Or what did he have as far as a business that they would assume that?
That's what he was doing.
What, a strip club?
He had a bachelorette service party.
Oh, okay,
service.
escort service.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's prostitution, yeah.
Okay. All right, we got to go.
I mean, really, every relationship's transactional when it's all said and done.
Right. You got to find the girl who pays for dinner. Marry her. The other one is too close to being a transactional relationship.
Grandma got with Grandpa because he had something to offer.
And it wasn't him.
I mean, I'm sure
our lives are not valued more than the money.
His billfold and his career probably helped a lot.
Oh my! Now we're going after love. Love on every angle. Love of the sport. Love for the woman.
Love is conditional and transactional.
But love is once again the reason I blocked the girls who are have the fake tits and the Brazilian injection ass on Facebook Reels and Instagram. The reason I blocked them is because I realized that the temptation of man towards a woman is the most valuable currency in world history. So I don't like being controlled, and I realize that a woman can be a very high level control piece, and is possibly the number one controlling piece in world history of what men do.
Right, so that's why you have bikini contests for a reason.
So it's more so a joke?
No, it's more of a way to bring men into a scenario where it can bring about seductive and controlling feelings.
Oh my God.
This is the Jezebel.
Should I be laughing at that comment?
It's a seductive spirit. That's all what it's all about. And Kyle,
and that's why they sell spirits.
That Asian culture. He's from that Asian culture. He's probably part of that whole gypsy witchcraft and whatnot. So
Japanese people are big into black magic, man. It's real. It's real.
Yep.
Magic's real.
And
people don't think about
Brad
it.
Sweet, he looks like he's like a Irish gypsy, so I could see that. Leprechaun almost.
Black magic is based in human manipulation. Magic is all about illusion and controlling masses of amount of people.
Yep.
So women, beer, entertainment, anything that's in front of your face all the time, phones, TVs, it's a form of magic.
Music, yep.
Yeah, music is hypnosis.
That's why you're.
I can literally get someone to chant something over and over repetitively if I put it in a song.
That's why your song doesn't get old.
It's right, because I put it at the magic point.
Yeah,
that's why they call that sector. That's why they call that sector of the song the hook, because it's hooking your mind.
Hooks you. It hooks right in your lip like a fish.
It's a form of magic.
And then they pull you out of the water. That's your lifeblood, and they kill you.
Oh God! Where did that come from?
What the hell? It's all about the seductive
As you say
nature
this,
of all
our
the
viewers go down to 33 for the record. Our viewers just went straight down, went from 50 to 33.
That's because they all are hooked by some broad that they hate.
33 degrees.
Wow.
Freemason.
They know it's true. They know it's true.
What is a 33rd degree Freemason, Spike?
What is it?
Kyle Larson is a Freemason, ain't he?
I wouldn't think he is yet. I think that he's got to climb the ladder a little more, but the controlling powers in controlling powers in America all are. They're all on the same team.
I mean, somebody did bring up Brian Clausen earlier. Wasn't it Larson that got like his big break the following, like right after that happened?
Yeah, probably.
And that's what the conspiracy theorists would call a Illuminati sacrifice, right?
Well, I think what Kyle wants to do is he's very narcissistic and manipulative, and I think that he wants to come in and destroy the world of outlaws. I think he wants to have his dying legacy that he killed off the world of outlaws.
That would be his goal. That would be like the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, but then he doesn't bring about anything better, right? It's just he was able to successfully kill it off.
That's what you think he's after.
I mean, what is the point of all this?
Would that be like the accomplishment of that 33rd degree? Obviously, those who have studied, and the reason we both know the truth here, when you study Illuminati Freemasonry in the elite sides of society, there's a certain ritual called the embarrassment ritual that each person must endure. And that's where you must be publicly embarrassed and put it and enshrined and put down. And this is a part of the break you down to build you up process. And that is also kind of what happened when he had that whole N-word incident, is it not?
Yeah, I would say it played into the public narrative of the nation at that time. Yeah.
So that was the embarrassment ritual on public display. People don't know about this stuff. They don't study Illuminati. They don't study Freemasons. They don't study the black magic occults and Aleister Crowley's. But this is a part of leveling up in the Illuminati rings.
Right.
This is how it goes. It's gone this way for thousands of years.
I'm curious why he's the chosen one.
They got to have a leader in each sector of society. And each sector of society is split up in the entertainment domain. So they need a leader in music and pop music and country music and rap music. They need a leader in the movies. They need a leader in the football, a leader in the basketball, a leader here, a leader there. They're all chosen ones. They're all LeBron Jameses. They're all Patrick Mahomeses or Travis Kelce's. They're Taylor Swift's. It's just different segments of society. They have a leader implanted so that at any point they need to push a notion, they just give up a ring to the people within the group to do it. We saw this in that whole political year, the COVID year. We saw how the strings were all pulled throughout certain groups.
Yeah, I get it. They never really did it in NHL, though, because I don't think nobody cares about hockey. So I think that's where NASCAR, see, the reason why NASCAR was spotlighted because it was the only sport that was happening at the time.
Well, the reason I think it was spotlighted is also because it controlled a majority of the white males that are under attack.
Right.
The white male of America is a NASCAR fan. It's the only sport, the great white sport.
Right. But at this point, though, it really doesn't matter. That's why nobody really, they can't really do any narrative with NASCAR anymore because nobody cares. Like, it's been exposed to the point where it is a money laundering. That like the Chicago street course race, it was sponsored by all these hospital groups in Chicago. That was just a big money laundering event. That's all it was. Right.
I mean, I guess.
Well, think about it. Like, why would you invest in a NASCAR street course when the lowest price ticket is $300 on a 4th of July weekend? When people don't stay home on the 4th of July weekend, they go do stuff.
And you think that is because of tax money laundering?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, why wouldn't it be? I mean, you know it's going to be a loss in general. You know, like, why would these hospital groups put all that money into an event that even people I know in Chicago that were going to be in the area that weekend were like, oh, yeah, I was thinking of going down there and take a look at the race. Then I found out it's $300 just to get by a certain point to even get near it.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, no thanks.
And that race is rescheduled, and you're saying this is all about tax money laundering.
Well, right, because it was a failure. Like, they wouldn't show the crowd, but if you did, there's a few times, and there are people that posted it online, you know, because they're kind of mocking the failure that it was. There was, like, nobody there. So, yeah. I mean, other than, like, the Richie Rich Suites, which were all the hospital group people sitting there, you know, eating their caviar and drinking their $200 bottles of wine, you know? And they're like
that's
laughing.
Something that a lot of people don't pay attention to is how much tax money's actually made in NASCAR. I just pulled it up real quick. There's actually a NASCAR tax credit where NASCAR tracks receive around $70 million each, it says. Or not each. North Wilkesboro gets plenty of tax dollars. I believe Talladega gets millions through tax revenue. So there's a lot of tax situations involved in NASCAR.
There's a lot of that in Illinois, so that's the other thing you got to think about. I mean, there was a big concert event in a suburb of Chicago, and they brought in like 3 big name bands, you know, that probably were about 30 to 50 grand each, right? And it was sponsored by the local hospital group. And it was, you know, we're giving back to the people of whatever city it was, whatever suburb it was, for, you know, your help during, you know, these past few years, you know. Well, what are you talking about? Like, you guys are a for-profit hospital group. Well, they have to, you know, obviously people are still buying tickets to the event. Like, it wasn't like it was free.
Right. So
if you banner your concert as a, you know, a community nonprofit fundraising effort, right?
Right.
Well, these hospital groups know how to do all that. That's easy stuff. That's easy money laundering. Same with the NASCAR street course there. It was all just a money laundering for the hospital groups, you know?
Well, and so that's why they rescheduled it then, because I guess they made big money. It's not, and you're saying like the smoke screen of it is, we're just trying to expand the sport. We want to go to Chicago. We're trying to be more diverse. Once again, we're trying to do all these things. These are all like the smoke screens on the stage, whereas behind the veil of the stage, all this money's changing hands and people are making a profit and using tax revenue and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, and then it doesn't matter if anybody comes through the gate and pays $300 or not. It doesn't matter to them.
Wow.
It's all the back gate money, if you want to call it that, right? Like, it's the back gate.
It's the politics. It's not just racing politics. It's real politics because it involves tax money.
Right, because I guarantee that Chicago had some kind of a federal grant that said if you can get some events that can give back to the community, that will give you funding for it and this and that. You know, there's always some kind of way. You know, why do you think Mississippi likes being the poverty state? Because they keep getting federal money every year. And then what happens? The governor launders it.
Well, I tried to look up what you're talking about. It says that Chicago commits to second NASCAR race. As study shows, the event generated $109 million. I searched for tax money in the Chicago race for second grant. What is this? Oh, Grant Park. Okay. It's going to be hard to find something like this. It's going to be hard to find evidence because it's going to be muddled.
Well, because what was the name of the race?
The Chicago Street Race, I believe, or
it wasn't said sponsored by Chicago such and such hospital group or.
Well, no, I'm not seeing anything like that.
Okay, because they had their banners all over the road course, and a bunch of the cars were sponsored by them too.
By Chicago,
and every
group?
suite was. What is it?
I'm trying to see what I would search to find that type of information.
Yeah, it was some medical group that put the money into it.
Chicago Medicine Advent Health will serve as the official healthcare provider at the Chicago Street Race. I'm seeing that. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Illinois' founding partner. Yeah, as a founding partner of the first ever NASCAR Street Race. So it was Blue Cross Blue Shield, which, if we want to look into the...
Oh, God.
Do I want to type in Blue Cross Blue Shield? What should I follow that up with? Tax evasion or money laundering?
Yeah, right.
I mean, what? Oh my God!
Just like Red Cross.
Oh, $2.7 billion Blue Cross Blue Shield settlement. Oh my God!
Right.
The list keeps going. Oh,
Yeah.
20 Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois is to pay $25 million. What is
Right.
this for?
But they raised
Civil
190,
False
yo.
Claims Act allegations. Oh my God. So back to these, Joe was talking about the Hendrick situation and, the issues with the Jason Myers' car owner and all the legal issues he's in. Look at this. Oh my God.
Well, exactly.
25 million
So,
here, 2.7 there. Go ahead.
well, so think about it. If Blue Cross comes along and says, hey, let's do, we're a non-for-profit group or wherever they claim to be. And we're gonna do this special event, and can you have no taxes for us for this event? We owe 25 mil on a settlement. We owe this much billion on this. I'm sure that money is then accounted for and put towards some of these settlements they have to pay.
And good catch by Ronald Coleman. Advent Health was on the winning car from New Zealand. Oh, SVG.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my.
So all
God.
all the Advent Health suite. I mean, that's the thing you got to understand. It's $300 for the peasants, right? For the rich peons.
Right.
If you want to get into these suites, it's $1,000 to $2,000 a ticket. Some of them are private. They're just for the hospital groups. You can't even get in them.
Yeah, you write those off too. Those are like business expenses.
Right. So, at this point, I mean, someone's like, oh, they're having a big road course event. Our hospital group, we can go for free and all this stuff. And, hey, sounds good. They're going to have caviar and champagne. All right, I'll be there. And, and it's just a richy rich because they all think it's Formula One. They don't know.
They don't know about that. All they know about is that money that's moving. That's all they know about.
Well, right. They just think it's like, well, these are our motor jockeys that are entertaining us. We're like the Dubai Saudis,
Right.
that are bringing in American entertainment to entertain us,
But you can't drink alcohol over there, I don't think.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
In
believe
Dubai,
in the
you can.
Really?
Yeah, Dubai's got like a 7-star hotel.
Yeah, but I think drinking is illegal in Dubai.
I'm not sure. You might be thinking of some of those other countries that they brought in events. Because that's how the WWE made a ton of money. They got those $50 million deals
right there.
to go do a show over there.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. It's illegal to drink on the street or in any public place. It is also illegal to be drunk in any public place.
Okay,
Dubai.
so then you have to drink, in a private party, basically.
Okay. There's a lot of laws and stuff about against it.
Which you can't drink on
Very
the
strict.
street most. Yeah, that's kind of a thing. Yeah.
But I mean, you can't even be seen with it. So.
Yeah, but along the lines of what our friend Clark, the Canadian, is talking about, so he would probably see Chicago as a big win because diversity, because
Expanding the
Chicago's
sport,
so
yeah.
diverse. That's a big win. But it's not. But that's also, he's a huge NASCAR groupie, so he's jaded.
in the game.
He's got a different view because you're not going to talk down about the thing that you're in love with. He's in denial.
Right. It's kind of like that girlfriend that's really hot, but you won't break up with her. You still defend her. Somebody said same with the Clash in LA.
Yep.
And that makes a lot of sense. I bet there's a lot,
group.
and that's it. That involves a college campus as well, right? The Rose Bowl is still part of a college campus, right?
So you probably paid the college to rent the facilities, so then the college profited. which
Right.
you're paying, you're basically giving money to a college, so that's a write-off.
They probably paid to start it off, but now after the success of one race, it's like this is for the future and got some kind of diversity grant. It's apparently why they only want, diverse drivers in NASCARs, because that Drive for Diversity program is funded by the government.
Ah. Well, and that's the reason why NASCAR, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if NASCAR is the biggest bore fest in history. It's all about money laundering. I mean, it would be as if every team and every player in the NFL was sponsored by companies, right? Like, that's what it would be like.
Right.
It wouldn't matter if these players were terrible. They don't care because they're laundering money through it,
There's actually a study that just came out on August 30th. Somebody's actually pissed off at NASCAR because they say Drive for Diversity is a discrimination group. It discriminates against white males.
Well, I bet Dallin Murdy wouldn't be hired to that group.
Right.
Right?
Bernstein
he
added that this program is blatantly illegal and it seems to violate Title and 1866 Civil Rights Acts.
Well,
Protects both employee and job applicants from discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. As it bans white applicants from a diversity internship. This is actually very true.
Well, what is that old program?
It is a very racist program. I thought that there was some government grants involved in doing this. Maybe not. I tried to look for it. Maybe I was wrong. I thought that was the case, but.
Well, what is the program even? Like, you're just, we're going to bring in the Asian girl or the black female that's going to be a secretary at NASCAR offices for a semester, or what?
It says the program titled NASCAR Drive for or NASCAR Diversity Internship Program is a paid internship that gives college students mentorship in the racer industry. Applicants are required to meet multiple requirements, one of which is being a member of one or more ethnicities, with white or Caucasian being absent from the list. And the guy says having a 100% quota for minorities for a position is illegal.
I see. Well, then it's just.
It says no matter the generosity of the view. So this guy's basically just pissed.
Yeah. It doesn't impact the sport in any way. It's just it's a government grant that they're getting to, so the government gives them more money.
I tried to find that. I could not find where they were actually getting grants. I couldn't find documentation, but I guess that would be a part of the, what is that act? Freedom of information. I'd have to do something like that to get the truth.
But you said it's a government program.
I believe it's a government program. It's somewhere. I believe it's a governmentally funded program. I think I was wrong though.
Oh, okay. Well, but even still, it's helping their social credit score to some degree to do something like this. It makes them look good. But all it is you're hiring someone to, staple papers together or something,
It sounds like it is a self-funded thing.
It's all them just trying to get. They're just trying to get people to give them a little thumbs up.
They're trying to get paid in viewership from the diverse crowd. I mean, I get it. It's smart, I guess, but I do think that anything excluding white people is just as racist as any racist thing out there. Personally.
Well, like Kyle Larson couldn't get that internship.
Kyle Larson is a Drive for Diversity program. What are you talking about? That's how he came in.
No. But that's what I'm saying is, did they ever have a driver diversity?
That's what it was. It's for all positions.
Oh, okay.
Because it says right here, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez are the most recent graduates with success.
But they said that they didn't want you to have white as one of your classifications.
Right. He registered under the Asian of his bloodline. Just like Bubba Wallace he's half white as well. So.
Oh, I thought they were saying that they wanted people to be multiple.
No white or Caucasian.
One.
Everyone but white guys.
Asian, black, or something like that.
Everyone but white guys.
Okay.
That's the requirement. If you're not a white man,
it's a failed human experiment, though. It's a failed human experiment, right? Like you're saying, let's find. It's like saying well, we need to find NBA stars that are, Asian or something, right?
Right.
Or Hmong or something that is, obviously usually they're short, right? Like, well, then what are you going to get from that? You're probably not going to get a good basketball player.
I think you're wrong, but
I don't know. I mean, you're limiting your pool, so it's like you found the one guy in the world that qualifies in that little pool
Bubba
of
Wallace,
people, right?
Kyle Larson, and Daniel Suarez are the successful graduates. There's plenty of people. Pretty sure Haley Deegan's within the program. Every guy or woman you see in NASCAR is registered under this program.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So, I get it now. So you're either a female or you are partial white.
Not white. Everyone but white men.
Right. So if you're 100% white, you don't count. But if you're like 50%, then or worse, right?
Right. If you're a purebred, you are out.
And I mean, it's
although
kind of
if we did a
interesting.
23andMe, we're diverse as fuck. But back to the actual racism of a diversity program. It's based on the visuals.
Well, but it's kind of interesting to me because, now you turn it into a program and, a star search where we're trying to find these, that the comedy of it all is back in the Madison Square Garden, right? In the 60s, 70s when they ran wrestling, right? And boxing. You know what they said? We need, we need an Italian. We need a Polish guy. We need an Irish guy. We need a black guy. They said that.
Yeah,
it's
it's Hunger Games. We need a person from each sector of society so that each sector tunes in to watch.
Right, like the Vince McMahon Sr., not Jr., the one that just sold the company, but Sr. originally liked Hulk Hogan because his last name was Hogan, and he said, well, he'd be good. The Irish people will like him. He got hired originally because he had a Irish sounding last name. It's not his real last name at all. Like, he ain't Irish.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that stuff's been going on since the dawn of time. And I don't blame it. I mean, that's what I was kind of going to touch upon with that whole female topic is I hope I wish they would get a good female dirt track driver that could go to the 410 ranks and actually kick some ass. Because that probably would help.
I mean, I would like if Jade Avedisian could do something. I don't see anyone out there that's really on that level right now.
Right, but I just don't see any of them ever wanting to just graduate out of what they're doing.
Right, they're comfortable in their bubble.
Right, and I mean, hey, if we could get some native guy or something, right? Native American dude who's kicking ass in sprint cars, like, fuck yeah, like that'd be cool.
They don't come with the generational wealth most of the time, and you need a bunch of that to even pursue a racing career.
Oh, I get it, but I'm just saying, like, for marketability, right? Like, you got the T-shirts and the marketing of a guy like that would be cool, right? Like. Right. Where he, you could have it where he's like, whatever, the Choctaw Warrior, damn near, and it's like cool shit. Like he'd have like the all the tribal.
But that's
prints
racist,
and stuff,
you know, Washington Redskins and shit.
Yeah, but guess what? All the natives I know are like, fuck yeah, we wish we were the Redskins. That'd be like saying the ass kickers, right? Like that's a compliment.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're calling them, you know, the damn, fry bread eating casino worker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you're calling them when they were kicking ass, like as a tribe.
Right.
That's a compliment.
Winners.
Yeah, you know, it's like, what would you have nicknames for drivers nowadays? I mean, in sprint car racing, the 5'2" phenom, right? What? I mean, I don't know. The rich kid,
right, coming off the top rope.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying is like there is a level to that where I get it, the marketability, because I'm sitting in the crowd at a 410 race and I'm like, well, who do I even like? You know, like the people have asked me that, well, who do you even like? And I go, I don't know. I kind of just like racing, but I said I don't really care about anybody because, like, I don't know, right? None of them really strike you.
Yeah, and you need the rich kids can survive, but you need the working man representation. That's what. So
that's
NASCAR
why I like the late
was Jeff
models
Gordon,
too.
the rich kid, versus the working guy of Dell Senior. Yeah, and late models have that. We are specifically talking about open wheel mainly.
Yeah. That's why, and beyond just the personalities in late models, I like the long game racing. That's why I thought Port Royal was awesome last night, because it reminded me of late model racing. It was a war of attrition. If you drove your car like an asshole, you're going to cut your tire or you're going to blow your engine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I liked that, and it gave them the time, just like late models, where they can, you know, pull into the pits and work on their car. There was that aspect with the brake, right? So that was cool. And then they came out and kicked some ass again, but it's still, you had to be disciplined. You couldn't go out there and just drive like a fool.
How boring will tonight be with the typical outlaw format?
Well, that's going to be interesting to see, right? I mean, I think it'll be a parade like it always is.
Yeah, and the Outlaws got smoked last night. I think there was only 3 in the A.
That's why they hate the races where they have to do a special format. They complained about Huset's like mad. They always complain about Eldora. I forget where else they've gone that does like a format. Oh, Knoxville. They hate Knoxville.
Right.
You know, it's a fascinating thing when you look at it. Well, because you can't provision in. But
right.
I think
that, that.
But honestly, that's always the best events are the ones where it shakes the deck.
Right. It's true.
And that's why late models do that.
Yeah, they're always shaking the deck.
And if you're good, I mean, you're going to pass. You're still going to pass the people you're going to pass. It's not going to be a problem.
Right.
Even with
all right, well, it's past 3:30. We need to get out of here. We got to get out of here. I want to do more than one show today.
Good talk. Sorry that Clark cried, but hopefully he has, some time to cry and find himself again. So
he's gone. He's gone. He ain't ever coming back. That was the last of Clark.
Why?
He ain't gonna call back. We went too far.
What was the dagger? What did you say that really put him over the edge?
I think it's because we were over the diversity deal, and he's like, well, World of Outlaws ain't going to help you. And I was like, the track record of the World of Outlaws is pretty good in the diversity ranks, with Ruben being the announcer, female reporters and stuff. Whereas, you want me to buy into Sweet and Kyle, one guy's got a misogynistic bikini contest and the other guy's saying the N-word.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was. You exposed, because he thinks Kyle's going to save everything.
Right.
I don't think that WRG is doing anything wrong as an ownership group and getting the sport out there on as far as their production abilities, right? I think they're doing just fine. I just think the Outlaws in general, that format has been created to be a T-shirt parade. That's all it is.
Well, how about this? After tonight's race, or in the A main or something, we'll go live and we'll have evidence of how bad the racing was. And then I
would bet money.
Compare.
Yeah, I would bet money it will
not
not be like last night. Yeah, I'll bet money it won't be like last night.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for calling. You better be on standby.
Yeah, I got nothing going on tonight. I'll be tuning in. So.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Well, you just had it there with Spike calling in. I want to thank everyone for calling in today. I see the questions. Why is there no black people in World of Outlaws? Is that diversity? That's a communal issue. That's what we got into talking about, was the community of dirt track racing has an issue with accepting different ways of life. I don't know if I could send a person into a dirt track race wearing a Riding with Biden t-shirt and feel safe about them getting back to their car. That's a problem. That's a problem. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks a lot for the super chats. I know Larry threw a bunch in there. Larry Otania, or Atania, maybe that's a different last name there. Means a lot. Keeps these shows, for me at least, enthusiastic, because it shows progression and that things are working. If you think it's working as well, send a super chat or join the membership to the channel as well. That helps out also. If you just can't support in any kind of monetary way, that's still fine. The likes, the comments matter, the shares matter as well, and your viewership above all matters more than any of it. With that being said, thanks for tuning in, and as always, be sure to subscribe. Catch you next time.
Ride anywhere we need to go. We can ride all night up to the morning, as long as we make the show.